Before you sleep tonight, heaven is listening. Every word you whisper before you close your eyes becomes a command to the universe. While you rest, your subconscious keeps speaking, shaping your tomorrow, preparing your supply, calling your blessings home. You have worked hard all day. You have planned, prayed, and pushed. But now, Spirit says, be still and speak. For the last words before sleep are the most powerful words you will ever say. They enter the divine silence where all creation begins. Florence Scovel Shinn said, "Your word is your wand. The words you speak create your world. And when the world grows quiet and your mind softens, your word becomes law. You are no longer fighting against time. You are aligning with the eternal. You are no longer chasing blessings. You are commanding them with faith. Say this before you sleep, and heaven will move for you. As I rest, divine supply works for me. My good is finding me now. I am safe, I am calm, I am cared for. Let these words travel into the unseen. Let them wrap around your dreams like light. For while the body sleeps, the soul creates. And by morning, what you spoke in faith will begin to take form. Because spirit never sleeps. It listens, it responds. And when you speak truth before you rest, money, opportunities, and miracles find their way to your door. Quietly, gracefully, and under divine order. Night is not the end of your day. It is the beginning of creation. When the world goes silent, the unseen world awakens. Your mind may rest, but your spirit begins to work. Quietly, faithfully, powerfully. You see, the universe does not need your effort. It needs your energy. And the most magnetic energy of all is peace. The peace that enters the soul before sleep. That moment between wakefulness and rest is a divine gateway. The bridge between the visible and the invisible, between what you want and what already belongs to you. Florence Scovel Shinn said, "Man must speak his word into every situation. That includes the hour when you close your eyes. Because your last thought before sleep does not fade away. It sinks deep into the soil of your subconscious, where it begins to grow roots of reality. It becomes a seed of manifestation, watered by divine intelligence through the night. When you sleep in worry, you create delay. When you sleep in peace, you create momentum. Your rest becomes your request. Your stillness becomes your statement of faith. Say this now softly. As I sleep, divine supply is preparing my abundance. Again, as I sleep, divine supply is preparing my abundance. Every night is an invisible meeting between your soul and spirit. The conscious mind stops controlling, and the divine mind begins orchestrating. It rearranges details, aligns opportunities, whispers ideas into the minds of others, and sends guidance to your future self, all while you are resting. Florence said, "Man's word sets in motion unseen forces and eventually return to him multiplied. And what better moment to send those forces forth than when you are closest to the unseen? Before sleep, you are no longer distracted by the world. You are pure consciousness, pure emotion, pure creation. That is the hour when your affirmation carries the full weight of your soul. It does not bounce off walls of doubt. It goes straight into divine law. Say this now. As I rest, I release all struggle. My wealth is already in motion. Again, as I rest, I release all struggle. My wealth is already in motion. Beloved, the spiritual realm does not operate on clocks. There is no tomorrow or yesterday in spirit, only now. So when you say, I am wealthy, before sleep, heaven hears it as truth now, not later, not one day, now. This is why the wealthy in spirit do not beg, they bless. They know that their sleep is sacred. It is not escape, but alignment. They rest because they know their word is already working. They rest because they know that divine substance cannot fail. Florence said, "There is no delay in divine mind. Therefore, I am never too late." When you go to sleep in this knowing, you rise into a morning of miracles. Your energy at night is your prayer for the day to come. If you fall asleep in peace, you wake up magnetic. If you rest with gratitude, you rise with grace. If you drift into sleep believing that the universe is on your side, the universe must respond. Because faith is law, and law cannot be broken. So tonight, as you lay your head upon the pillow, release the need to figure it all out. Your only task now is to feel peace, to feel safety, to feel the quiet assurance that everything you need is being arranged perfectly. Say this before you sleep, and let it echo through your dreams. I am safe. I am calm. I am supplied. While I rest, heaven works for me. Or repeat it until the rhythm carries you into stillness. Let the vibration of those words around you like a blanket of gold. Because faith does not sleep. It watches, it moves, it builds, it delivers. And as you close your eyes, remember you are not going to rest from your work. You are resting in your miracle. Every night, before you drift into the silence, one thought crosses the doorway of your mind. The final thought, the last whisper before the world fades. That is the moment the universe takes its cue from you. Your last word becomes your law. Your final vibration becomes your morning reality. Florence Scovel Shinn said, "You must act as if you have already received. And your last thought before sleep is the purest form of that action. Because in that sacred in-between, where the body rests but the soul still listens, your word is not just spoken, it is written in the invisible. The last thing you say before sleep decides what the unseen world will bring when you wake. If your final word is worry, the universe rushes to give you more of it. If your final word is peace, peace becomes your atmosphere. If your last thought is lack, lack multiplies. But if your last word is faith, your faith calls forth provision before dawn. Beloved, do you realize how powerful that is? The world may forget your words, but heaven does not. The silence of sleep is not emptiness. It is the womb of creation. And every word you speak before surrendering to it becomes a seed planted in divine soil. Say this now. My last word tonight is faith. My last thought is wealth. My sleep is creation. My last word tonight is faith. My last thought is wealth. My sleep is creation. You see, your conscious mind is the gatekeeper. But when you sleep, that gate opens wide. Whatever you let in at the last moment enters the holy ground of your subconscious. The part of you that never sleeps, never doubts, and never forgets. It begins to reproduce the exact emotion you carried into rest. Florence said, "A man's word is his wand. It can heal, bless, and prosper." So what if you ended every night with a wand of light? What if your last word was always prosperity, peace, or gratitude? You would begin to wake each morning inside a miracle. Most people let fear speak last. They close their eyes thinking, how will I pay for this? What if tomorrow doesn't change? And the subconscious, faithful but neutral, simply obeys. It builds what it was told. It builds more fear, more delay, more confusion. But the wise, the waken, the faithful, they know the secret. They speak last. They give the final command. They tell the universe exactly what to create while they sleep. Say this now, with quiet certainty. My word is the last word. My word is wealth. My word is peace. Again, my word is the last word. My word is wealth. My word is peace. You see, when you go to bed angry, you take that fire into your dreams. When you go to bed afraid, you feed your future with fear. But when you go to bed faithful, you invite angels to build your blessings overnight. Heaven responds to the vibration that ends your day. That is why Florence said, your only enemies are fear, doubt, and worry. And the way to defeat them is not with battle, but with your final word. Speak peace, and worry dissolves. Speak gratitude, and fear retreats. speak wealth, and lack loses its power. You don't need to force belief. You don't need to repeat endlessly. You only need to feel your word as truth in that moment before you drift away. Because the subconscious does not respond to effort. It responds to emotion. It listens to the vibration behind your words. So if you whisper, "I am rich," but feel fear, the signal is weak. But if you say, "I am cared for," and mean it with your whole heart, the law of supply begins to move instantly. Tonight, let your last word be sacred. Let it be calm. Let it carry faith so strong that heaven must act. Say this now slowly, like a lullaby to your soul. I am cared for. I am guided. I am supplied. Again. I am cared for. I am guided. And as you speak, imagine those words leaving your lips as streams of light. They rise into the night sky, into the unseen, where divine intelligence receives them, not as wishes, but as instructions. They become energy, then movement, then form. They become opportunity, guidance, provision, miracles. Every last word builds a new world. So guard it carefully. Make it worthy of your future. Florence said, "Nothing stands between man and his highest good but fear." So tonight, let faith stand at your door. Let gratitude tuck you in. Let peace sing you to sleep. Because the last word of the night becomes the first miracle of the morning. When you fall asleep, beloved, something holy begins to happen. The world outside grows silent, but heaven grows loud. In the stillness of your rest, your spirit begins to attract. The vibration of your peace sends a signal through the invisible, a signal that only abundance can answer. Florence Scovel Shinn said, "Faith never fights. It knows." And nowhere is that truth more powerful than in the silence of the night. Because while you sleep, faith is working. It does not argue. It does not strive. It simply knows. And what it knows, it calls forth. The rich in spirit understand this sacred exchange. They do not go to sleep with worry in their chest. They do not let fear be their pillow. They go to sleep with gratitude in their hearts, because they understand that the law is always listening. And when they rest in faith, their energy becomes a magnet. Say this now, softly. As I sleep, I attract everything that belongs to me. Again, as I sleep, I attract everything that belongs to me. Your aura, the field of light that surrounds your body, changes when you sleep. When your mind lets go, your aura expands. When your breath slows, your energy becomes calm, radiant, and magnetic. The fear that once pushed abundance away begins to dissolve, and the light of trust begins to glow. That glow, beloved, is your silent signal to the universe. It tells every blessing, "Come home." It calls forth money that was delayed, opportunities that were overlooked, and people who were meant to help you. It draws everything that matches your peace. You see, wealth does not chase noise. It follows harmony. Money is energy, and energy seeks alignment. When your energy is frantic, the flow scatters. When your energy is calm, it collects. That is why silence is not emptiness, it is attraction. Florence said, "Man can only receive what he feels is his by divine right." When you are calm, you feel that truth deeply. You no longer wonder if you deserve it. You simply know that you do. You stop reaching for money, and money starts reaching for you. Say this now, money feels safe with me. My peace attracts prosperity. Again, money feels safe with me. My peace attracts prosperity. Every night as you rest, your subconscious builds bridges between you and your supply. It inspires someone to think of you. It brings your name into the right conversation. It arranges a meeting, an idea, or a breakthrough that you could never plan while awake. Because the spirit that never sleeps is always working for you. The wealthy in spirit trust this law. They do not lie awake trying to fix everything. They surrender it to the divine engineer. They say, God is my supply and my success. And then they sleep, deeply, peacefully, powerfully. Florence said, Infinite Spirit, open the way for my immediate supply. Let all that is mine by divine right now reach me. And when you say this before sleep, you are giving the divine full permission to move. You are stepping out of the way so grace can step in. Beloved, the world may tell you to work harder, but heaven tells you to rest deeper. Because faith does not force. Faith allows. Faith does not push the door open. It stands in front of it and says, it will open at the right time. Well, your silence is not weakness. It is sacred communication. In that stillness, your energy says everything that needs to be said. It says, I trust. I allow. I am ready. And the universe, hearing that vibration, begins to send wealth in motion. Say this now. My silence speaks abundance. My rest creates miracles. Again, my silence speaks abundance. My rest creates miracles. The wealth magnet within you is not built by striving. It is built by surrender. Each time you release control, you invite divine timing. Each time you exhale, you open another channel. Each time you choose peace before sleep, your energy becomes gold. Think of the night as a soft, living sea, and your faith as the current. When you drift into sleep with peace in your heart, that current carries you toward new blessings by morning. Your soul travels in faith, gathering ideas, answers, and opportunities to bring back with you at dawn. That is why you sometimes wake with sudden clarity. A new idea, a solution, or a feeling that something good is coming. That is not coincidence. That is creation. Your soul has been working while you rested. Your word has been echoing through the universe. And now, the echo is returning as evidence. Say this before you sleep tonight. My rest is my wealth. My stillness is my strength. My dreams are filled with divine instructions. Again, my rest is my wealth. My stillness is my strength. My dreams are filled with divine instructions. And then let go. Let silence take over. Let peace speak for you. Because when your mind is quiet, heaven gets to work. And when heaven works, nothing can stop your good from finding you. When the morning light touches your face, beloved, something within you knows. Something invisible has shifted. You may not see it yet, but you feel it. There is a quiet certainty in your heart, a calm that wasn't there yesterday. That calm is not emptiness, it is evidence. It is the spiritual proof that your word was heard. Florence Scovel Shinn said, faith knows it has already received. Faith doesn't wait for signs to believe. The feeling itself is the sign. So when you wake up peaceful, even before your outer world changes, that peace is your first miracle. It means the law is working. It means heaven has already begun to rearrange the visible world to match your vibration. Many people open their eyes and immediately remember their problems. They start the day in the same energy that blocked their abundance the night before. But you are learning a new rhythm. You wake not to repeat the past, but to receive the results of faith. You start your morning as a continuation of creation. Say this now, softly, today, I walk in the evidence of answered prayer. Again today, I walk in the evidence of answered prayer. Because morning, beloved, is not a test, it's confirmation. The moment you wake, your energy is most pure, untouched by worry, still aligned with the peace you planted during the night. That is why the first words you speak after rising are just as sacred as the ones you spoke before sleep. They must match in power. They must mirror your belief. Florence said, you can never receive what you cannot see yourself receiving. So see it now. See yourself waking into a day that already knows your name. A day that has been prepared in love. A day that holds unexpected blessings waiting around every corner. As you stretch and breathe, imagine that the universe has gone ahead of you. clearing obstacles, opening doors, arranging divine encounters. Because while you slept, it did exactly that. Faith planted the seed. Morning brings, say this now, I rise in peace. I walk in provision. I rest in divine order. Again, I rise in peace. I walk in provision. I rest in divine order. You may notice something different today. Perhaps a small kindness, a word spoken at the right moment, an opportunity that feels too perfect to be coincidence. These are not accidents. They are the fingerprints of spirit, the quiet confirmations that your word from last night has already started working. Sometimes, the proof will be internal. A sudden idea, a new inspiration, an urge to take a step you've avoided. Do not dismiss it. That is how spirit speaks to the awakened. When the law moves, it doesn't shout, it whispers. It nudges. It reminds you of your power. Florence said, "Never do today what intuition says to do tomorrow." That means flow, not force. You are no longer driven by fear's urgency. You are guided by faith's rhythm. You no longer chase. You allow. You no longer plan from panic. You move from peace. And when you live this way, every morning becomes sacred ground. You begin to notice that your days unfold with less resistance, fewer delays, more alignment. Things simply fit. That is the mark of divine order, the invisible intelligence arranging life in your favor. Say this now. Everything I need is already in motion. Every good thing is already finding me. Everything I need is already in motion. Every good thing is already finding me. You will find that when you hold this morning calm, money begins to respond faster. It will show up in ways you didn't expect. A refund, an opportunity, a new idea, or the right person crossing your path. That is the rhythm of responding to safety. When you feel safe to receive, abundance feels safe to stay. Do not rush into the noise of the world. Protect your peace. The first 10 minutes after waking decide the tone of your day. So stay in gratitude. Whisper thanks for things unseen. Thank God not only for what is still forming. Florence said, gratitude is the law of increase. Every thank you is a magnet. It draws more to be thankful for. So before you rise, speak softly. Thank you for another day of divine supply. Thank you for the unseen blessings now on their way. When you walk out into the world, carry that vibration with you. Let your calm be your confidence. Let your peace be your proof. You do not need to convince anyone of your faith. Your energy speaks for you. People will begin to feel it. That quiet authority. That radiant certainty that something greater is guiding you. Say this now, where I walk, favor walks with me. What I touch prospers. Who I meet blesses and is blessed. Agare I walk, favor walks with me. What I touch prospers. Who I meet blesses and is blessed. Beloved, the law of wealth does not end when you wake. It continues through your every thought, word, and emotion. The same peace that created your abundant must guard it through the day. So return to that calm often. Pause. Breathe. Remember that the universe does not forget what you spoke in faith. Every time you choose peace instead of panic, you remind heaven that you are still ready. Every time you say, thank you, before seeing results, you accelerate their arrival. Every time you stay calm in waiting, you prove that you have already received. The morning is not just a beginning. It is a revelation. It shows you what faith looks like when it becomes form. And the more you live in that energy, the more the unseen becomes visible. So as you step into your day, say this final morning decree. The law of abundance is working through me now. I am aligned, supplied, and surrounded by good. This day carries my answered prayers, under grace, in perfect ways. And then walk through the world not as someone hoping, but as someone who knows. And now, beloved soul, you have come full circle. From the word that began your to the light that greets your morning. Everything has moved under grace, in perfect ways. The unseen has heard you. Heaven has acted. The divine law, so faithful and exact, is already fulfilling what you have spoken in peace. You are no longer the one who worries before sleep. You are the one who commands with love. You are no longer the one who chases blessings. You are the one who attracts them by stillness. For you have learned the sacred secret of manifestation, that the calm soul creates faster than the restless mind. Florence Scovel Shinn said, "Nothing stands between man and his highest good but fear." But now, fear has no voice in you. You have replaced it with faith. You have replaced it with truth. You have replaced it with your divine word, the word that never returns void. Say this softly. My word is the bridge between heaven and earth. Again. My word is the bridge between heaven and earth. Each time you speak in faith, your vibration rises. Each time you sleep in peace, your aura glows brighter. Each time you thank the unseen, you quicken the miracle. And so tonight, when you rest again, you will not fall into sleep. You will rise into it. You will enter that invisible temple where all good is formed. Florence said, "Man's word sets in motion forces, seen and unseen return to him multiplied." So know this. The words you have spoken these past nights are already multiplying. In ways you cannot yet measure, through channels you cannot yet see. The law is faithful. The supply is certain. The miracle is underway. Say this now. I trust the invisible process of my prosperity. Again, I trust the invisible process of my prosperity. The divine never delays. It only aligns. The good that is yours cannot be lost. The money that belongs to you cannot be withheld. The opportunities assigned to your name cannot be given to another. Everything marked for you is in transit, guided by faith, protected by grace, and drawn to your calm. When you understand this, worry becomes unnecessary. When you live this, peace becomes natural. And in that peace, abundance becomes inevitable. You are now in harmony with the law that governs all wealth. The law of vibration, the law of expectancy, the law of gratitude. You no longer hope for supply. You embody it. You no longer plead for provision. You walk as proof of it. The money, the ideas, the favor, all these are not outside of you. They are expressions of the divine within you. Florence said, man must make the statement, there is no failure in divine mind. Therefore, I cannot fail. So speak it now. There is no failure in divine mind. Therefore, I cannot fail. Again, there is no failure in divine mind. Therefore, I cannot fail. You are part of a rhythm that never falters. Each inhale gathers blessing. Each exhale releases resistance. Each heartbeat whispers, I am one with divine abundance. From this night forward, your rest will no longer be ordinary. It will be sacred. Each time your eyes close, heaven will hear your command. Each time you breathe in peace, the universe will rearrange itself in your favor. Each time you whisper your decree, invisible hands will move mountains for your good. Say this now, while I rest, the law works. While I sleep, the supply moves. While I dream, my wealth finds me. Again, while I rest, the law works. While I sleep, the supply moves. While I dream, my wealth finds me. And tomorrow, when you wake, you will rise differently. You will walk through the world not in haste, but in harmony. You will no longer look for signs. You will feel them. The right words will flow from your mouth. The right people will cross your path. The right opportunities will recognize your vibration. Because you have become the vibration of wealth itself. You are the calm in which abundance feels safe. You are the faith through which blessings flow. You are the proof that peace attracts prosperity. Florence said, gratitude is the law of increase. So let us thank the unseen now. before the manifestation becomes visible. Thank God for the money already moving. Thank God for the doors already opening. Thank God for the miracles already underway. Say this now: thank you, Infinite Spirit, that my supply is constant and abundant. Thank you that I am always cared for, always guided, always blessed. And now, beloved, the final decree. I rest in divine order. I speak only truth. I live in unshakable faith. My word commands wealth, peace, and perfect timing. All that is mine by divine right flows to me now, freely, effortlessly, and under grace. Again, I rest in divine order. I speak only truth. I live in unshakable faith. My word commands wealth, peace, and perfect timing. All that is mine by divine right flows to me now, freely, effortlessly, and under grace. And one last time, not as a hope, but as a command sealed in heaven, I rest in divine order. I speak only truth. I live in unshakable faith. My word commands wealth, peace, and perfect timing. All that is mine by divine right flows to me now, freely, effortlessly, and under grace. Now take a deep breath. Let few shoulders drop. Let peace rise like light through your heart. Because tonight, you are not waiting for your miracle. You are resting in it. You are not searching for money. Money is searching for you. You are not begging the universe. You are blessing it. And as your head rests upon the pillow tonight, the invisible goes to work. By morning, something will have shifted. Something will have arrived. Something will whisper, "It is done." Sleep peacefully, beloved. For your word is law, and your law is love, and love always delivers.
Money is not paper. It is not ink. It is not numbers stored in a database. Money is condensed belief, crystallized energy, divine substance compressed into visible form. The world sees it as currency, but I know it as condensed conviction. I have said it before, and I say it again now. Money is God in action, when rightly spoken over. And the one who blesses it with faith does not worship mammon. They command it. There is a sacred stillness that descends when you hold cash in your hand, for that which you touch is not just matter, but mind. And mind obeys the voice of the Spirit. Many fear to touch money because they've been taught it is unclean. But I tell you this, it is the fear of money that keeps it away, not the love of it, but the fear of being powerful in it. When you hold cash, do not look upon it with the eyes of guilt or lack. Look upon it with the eyes of dominion, for it came from God, and to God it returns. A woman once came to me with but $2 to her name. She feared to spend it, for she saw it as her last. But I told her, that is not your last. That is your seed. That is your symbol. Bless it, love it, multiply it with the word. For Jesus Christ did not say, lament over the loaves and fishes. He said, bless them. And in the blessing, they increased. So we took those $2 and I said, we bless the $2. We declare that you have the magic purse of spirit. It can never be depleted. As money goes out, immediately money comes in. Always crammed, jammed with abundance, under grace, in perfect ways. She felt her purse heavy with money, and shortly after, she received a gift of $6,000. It was not the paper that multiplied. It was the word spoken over it that released the abundance. Your word is your wa so zero floor. Money is obedient when spoken to with reverence and faith. It does not respond to greed or control. It responds to conviction. So when you hold cash, you are not holding a transaction. You are holding a throne. And the question is, who is seated upon it? Lack, fear, hesitation, or the spirit of truth? Every dollar you touch is a servant awaiting instruction. You may dismiss it in silence, or you may bless it with divine speech. The choice is always yours. But hear me well. Until you can hold money without flinching, you will never command it without limitation. For the external reflects the internal. The hand must be steady, and the heart must be clean. When I say this while holding cash, I do not mean superstition. I mean, step into spiritual authorship, Take the word and write your covenant upon the paper, and it shall not return void. Say with me now, this is not my last. This is my first. This is the door, not the dead end. I bless this money. I multiply it with my word. It is God in substance, and it obeys his voice in me. Speak it until your hand tingles with spiritual certainty. Speak it until the wallet trembles with new life. Speak it until fear flees and faith ignites. For you are not begging money to stay. You are summoning it to return multiplied, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. That is the silent power of physical money when held by a spiritually vocal soul. You have been deceived if you think money is merely paper. You have been misled if you think its value lies in coins or cards or digital numbers blinking on a screen. For the law of substance is this: money is not material, it is metaphysical. It is not a product of banks. It is a projection of belief. Scripture tells us plainly, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Substance, then, is not matter. It is spiritual certainty. It is invisible reality pressed into form. So what is money, if not substance shaped by faith? I say to you now, as I have said before, money is condensed faith. It is the spiritual made usable. It is the invisible crystallized by conviction. It is a sacred symbol of circulation, the divine outpicturing of how you allow God to flow through your belief. Some look at a dollar and see lack, others look and see control. But the awakened soul looks upon a dollar and sees movement, flow, response, divine echo. It is never the paper that holds power. It is the decree that fills it. You can hold a blank check and still be rich in consciousness. You can clutch a stack of bills and be poorer than the beggar on the street. For substance does not answer to appearance. It answers to speech, to identity, to your spiritual vibration. A woman once told me, "Florence, I feel richer with one spoken dollar than I did with thousands in my account, because now I know what it obeys." And I told her, "You have understood the law. For substance is not what the world prints. It is what the soul commands. Money is not stagnant. It is spiritual circulation. It is divine compensation in motion. And like blood, it flows where the heart is open. Like breath, it enters where fear has been cast out. And like rain, it responds to seed. So do not look at the paper and call it static. Do not curse the coin. For the moment your tongue labels money as evil, dirty, or elusive, you sever your own supply line. You declare against your own dominion. Say instead, this money is spirit condensed. It is love circulated. It is faith rewarded. Hold the bill and say, you are not mine. You are God's servant, obeying my decree. This is not poetry. This is power. For until you understand the nature of money as substance, not symbol, you will remain bound by the illusion of shortage. But shortage is not truth. Scarcity is not law. The true law is multiplication. The true law is expansion. The true law is, as you believe, as you speak, so shall it be done unto you. Now hear me well. If money is condensed faith, then the greater your faith, the greater your flow. Do not ask for more dollars. Ask for more dominion. Do not plead for more income. Proclaim your oneness with supply. Your words mold substance. Your faith directs its form. And when you finally speak in alignment with truth, you will find that your wallet is not a container. It is a current. It moves as you speak. It listens when you bless. And it multiplies when you treat it as holy. Let us expose a secret fear, one so common, so concealed, that it hides beneath even the most spiritual intentions. The fear of holding money. Not the fear of not having it, but the fear of having it too long, the fear of keeping it, the fear of being seen with it, the fear of becoming visible in wealth. For most were not raised to receive. They were raised to release, and to release too soon. From childhood we were told, don't flaunt it, don't hold on to it. Easy come, easy go. We were taught that money slips, money burns, money spoils, that money changes people, ruins families, invites judgment. And so even when it comes, there is a secret tremble in the hand. The fingers curl tightly, not in dominion, but in anxiety. Not because they are greedy, but because they are guilty. They have been trained not to possess, not to enjoy, not to retain, only to need and to beg and to apologize for wanting. And so money becomes a visitor, not a resident, a gust, not a grounding. It walks in and is quickly shown the door because no one ever trained you to let it stay. But hear me now. You were not created for barely enough. You were not fashioned for fleeting supply. You were designed for overflow. You were designed to house abundance with dignity and to keep wealth with honor. The emotional tension many feel around holding money is not rooted in truth. It is rooted in ancestral trauma, cultural guilt, and generational programming. Somewhere deep in the soul is a child that learned, if I have too much, I will lose love. Or, if I look rich, they will think I'm bad. Or, if I prosper, I will be alone. So what do? They spend it before it multiplies. They hide it before it blesses. They reject it before it roots. They fear what is good because they were never taught how to hold it without punishment. But I am here to tell you that God does not punish possession. He punishes misuse. And the soul that blesses money with clean hands and pure speech shall not suffer for it, but shall increase by it. It is not dangerous to hold money. It is dangerous to fear it. For what you fear, you repel. And what you bless, you receive. So take the cash in your hand and speak the reversal. I was not made to release too soon. I was made to receive long enough. Say it again with your whole voice. Say it until your nervous system calms. Say it until your fingers stop twitching. Say it until your soul stops apologizing for overflow. For money is not the enemy. Your guilt is. And when you renounce it, when you revoke the lie, when you bless what was once feared, money will stop fleeing and it will start multiplying. When you hold cash in your hand, you are not holding a material object. You are holding a divine extension, a tangible symbol of circulation, a spiritual echo of what you've spoken, believed, and allowed. The money in your palm has no power of its own, but it responds with absolute obedience to the tone of your voice. If you bless it, it multiplies. If you curse it, it flees. If you ignore it, it withers. But if you honor it as divine substance, it shall become your servant, your supply, and your sign. Now listen well. There is no multiplication without instruction, and the tongue is the wand. You do not wait for money to bless you. You bless it first. You speak to it before it moves. You declare over it before it is spent. Your voice trains your currency. Your voice instructs your wallet. And your voice, when aligned with spiritual truth, awakens the law of increase. So take the cash in your hand and say this with full spiritual authority. You are blessed. You are multiplied. You are magnetized. You are divine circulation, and I release you only with praise. This is not a mantra of ego. It is a command of spirit. You are not speaking to paper. You are speaking to the spiritual template behind the paper, the pattern, the blueprint, the unseen root that determines its fruit. Do not say it once and expect dominion. Frequency matters. Rhythm matters. The tongue must be trained like a muscle. You do not lift once and expect strength. You do not speak once and expect overflow. You speak daily. You speak faithfully. You speak as a steward, not a beggar. And your words begin to instruct reality. Your words build patterns, and your patterns attract wealth. Bless the $10 bill with the same tone you would bless a million. Because the law does not respond to amounts. It responds to atmosphere. It responds to the tone of your dominion. Speak to your cash as if it were an honored guest, a divine assignment, a spiritual ally. Say, I don't just spend, I send. I don't just buy, I bless. And you will find that money begins to flow toward the voice that treats it as sacred, not scarce. For what you hold, you mold. And what you bless, you multiply. So speak, and speak often. Speak until the dollars obey. Speak until fear bows. Speak until the cash in your palm glows with spiritual memory of the law it just heard. You have been trained by the world to believe that money multiplies through labor, strategy, and saving. But I tell you now, money multiplies through speech, through reverent instruction, through the spiritual law of multiplication, which predates all human economics and bypasses all worldly logic. This law is not modern, it is eternal, it is divine. It is the same law that Jesus enacted when he took 5 loaves and 2 fish, lifted his voice to heaven, gave thanks, and spoke the blessing. Then, and only then, it multiplied. He did not ask, he did not analyze, he declared. He spoke over the substance until it expanded, and that is the model, the divine template, the metaphysical method. You speak before the overflow, not after. You bless the little and watch it grow. You look at what the world calls not enough, and you speak to it as if it were already multiplied. Let me teach you now the core truth of this law. Your words are vessels. They are containers for increase. And just as a cup holds water, your phrase holds the pattern for provision. When you speak over money with faith, you create a mold for more. You build a landing place for overflow. You command heaven to pour itself into form. Say aloud with me now, my words are vessels, and they return filled. Again, my words are vessels, and they return filled. You must understand this. You are not begging God to send increase. You are building the container with your mouth, and whatever you speak with conviction becomes the structure through which your supply flows. If you say, there's never enough, you build a tiny bowl. If you say, I can't hold on to money, you build a sieve. But if you say, I walk in divine circulation, I release with joy and receive with ease, then you build a well without bottom, a vessel that cannot be emptied. Your substance responds to sound. Your wallet listens to prophecy. Your cash is waiting for assignment. And when you speak over it, not from fear, but from faith, it obeys the vibration and multiplies according to the pattern you declare. So do not wait. Do not withhold your words. Speak over every bill, every coin, every bank notification. Say, you are not just money. You are blessed substance. You are spoken increase. You are assigned to return multiplied. For this is the tongue of the multiplier. This is the mouth of dominion. And this is the law of multiplication fulfilled by the one who speaks with authority. Now I give you the ritual, not as superstition, but as spiritual alignment. Not as tradition, but as activation. When you speak over cash, you are not performing a trick. You are entering covenant with substance. You are reminding the invisible that you are a vessel of increase. And like the prophet who stretched over the child to bring him back to life, you are stretching your word over the thing the world called dead and commanding it to rise. Let us begin. Step 1. Clean the space. Silence the mind. Do not rush this. Make the place where you speak holy. Light a candle. Clear the clutter. Let the air be still. Turn off the voices of the world and tune yourself to the frequency of heaven. You cannot multiply in noise. You must enter the sanctuary of command. Breathe deep. Let your nervous system drop. Say in your spirit, this is sacred ground. Step 2. Hold the cash in your left hand. The left hand is the receiving hand, the hand of memory, the hand of soul. As you hold the bill, whether it is a $1 note or a $100 note, recognize it as spiritual substance. Not paper, not government, not decimal, substance. The condensation of faith, the echo of circulation, the answer to a former word now come into form. Honor it. Step 3. Place your right hand over your heart. Your right hand is your sending hand, your command hand, and your heart is the altar. Let them meet. You are joining authority with sincerity. Command with love, decree with purity. Feel your own pulse as you prepare to speak. You are not just saying words, you are announcing to the ethers that multiplication has begun. Step 4. Speak the declaration 7 times. 7 is the number of completion, the number of divine fullness. Do not mumble, do not guess. Speak with clarity and rhythm. You are blessed, multiplied, and magnetized. You are divine supply in motion. Say it 7 times, slowly. Let the syllables sink. Let the rhythm cleanse you. Each repetition is a layer of command, a pouring of oil, a setting of tone. Speak it until your voice no longer trembles, until your spine remembers who you are. You may say it aloud or under your breath, but you must say it with certainty, not asking, not wishing, declaring. Step 5. Close with this phrase, Amen, and multiply. Let this be the seal, the exhale, the release. Amen means so be it. Multiply is your assignment. You are not begging for increase. You are commanding circulation. You are not proving worth. You are fulfilling law. As you say it, release the cash into your wallet, your altar, your pocket, wherever it is meant to go next. But do not release it without blessing. Do not put it away like the world does. Put it away like the Spirit does, with recognition of its divinity and expectation of its return. This ritual is not a performance. It is a practice of presence. The money in your hand is not waiting for hustle. It is waiting for holiness. When your word touches it, it is not just spent, it is sent. Sent on assignment, sent to circulate, sent to echo the voice that blessed it. So do it with reverence. Do it often. Do it every time you receive, give, or pause. The hands that touch money without guilt, and the mouth that speaks blessing without fear, these are the hands and mouth through which multiplication flows. She stood in her kitchen with tears in her eyes and a $10 bill in her hand. It was all that remained. Rent was due, groceries were low. Her hands trembled, not because of the amount, but because of the old voice rising up in her. This isn't enough. This will disappear. You're always behind. But that night, she remembered a phrase, a teaching, a law. She remembered the divine principle I now remind you of. Money is not yours to hoard or fear. It is substance in motion, and it obeys the voice of faith. She cleared the table, lit a candle, held the bill in her left hand, her right over her heart, and she spoke, not to paper, but to principle. 7 times, she declared, "You are blessed, multiplied, and magnetized. You are divine supply in motion." And after the 7th time, she looked at the bill, not with fear, but with reverence. And she said something she had never said before. "You are no longer mine. You are spiritual substance. You are sent. You are sanctified." She placed it in her wallet, kissed it as a mother kisses a child before release, and let it go. She did not obsess. She did not watch the bank app. She watched her words. She guarded her gate. For 3 days, she refused to say lack, refused to speak worry. Every time fear rose, she repeated the phrase, "You are divine supply in motion." On the 4th morning, an email arrived. A company she hadn't thought about in months had issued a refund. Overpayment, they said, from a billing error. The amount? $210. She smiled, not because of the number, but because of the principle. Because heaven had heard the vibration and returned it with interest. Not through labor, through law. She later wrote in her journal, "That bill was no longer mine. It had become the word made form. It had become circulation. It had become prophecy. And so it is for you. The cash in your hand, when spoken over with truth, becomes something altogether different. It becomes a seed of supply, a multiplied sound, a divine servant returning full. When you bless money, you are not merely speaking to your wallet. You are cleansing the energetic river that flows between you and all that is yours by divine right. Most people treat money as if it's something they must chase, clutch, or fear. But I tell you, money is not something to control. It is something to consecrate. And the moment you bless it, you begin to break the silent curse that has followed you for generations. Blessed money becomes bold money. It no longer hides in corners of shame. It no longer slips through your fingers like a guilty secret. It stands tall, multiplies openly, and knows exactly where to go, because it has been spoken over by one who understands that money is a servant of spirit, not a master of men. And when you speak blessing, something else happens. You release guilt. You release the story that says, "I don't deserve this," or "It's wrong to have more." That lie begins to tremble when your mouth opens in truth. For guilt is a clog in the pipe. Shame is a stopper in the flow. But blessing opens the valve. Blessing invites the flood. Blessing says, "This money is holy. This money is clean. This money is mine to move as Spirit directs." To bless your money is to sanctify your relationship with supply. No longer chained to trauma, no longer hidden in fear, no longer whispered about in corners. You become a channel, a conduit. You don't hoard, you circulate. You don't fear, you flow, because you have blessed what the world taught you to curse. Do not forget this. What you bless cannot betray you. What you sanctify cannot shrink. The voice that blesses money also commands it, and the hand that blesses what it holds becomes the hand that receives again and again, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. There are phrases that carry rhythm, and then there are phrases that carry power. Some words dance across the mind and disappear. But there are others, charged, divine, magnetic, that pierce through appearance and build new reality. These are not affirmations for the faint of heart. These are declarations of spiritual dominion. And if you speak them not as begging, but as being, then I tell you, money must obey. Here is the first. Every dollar I touch returns to me multiplied. This is not wishful. It is not metaphor. It is law. You are no longer releasing money into a void. You are sending it on assignment. Just as the rain returns from the heavens to water the earth, so shall every dollar return, not empty, but expanded. You are not losing it. You are loaning it to the law. You are dispatching it to gather its kind. Speak this as a command, and let heaven track its return. Second, I do not chase, I magnetize. The beggar chases, the aligned attract. And you, child of divine supply, were never meant to pursue with panic. You are the magnet. You are the frequency. And when you walk in rhythm with spiritual law, money finds you by identity, not effort. Say this aloud until your breath believes it, until your spine remembers it, until your wallet begins to respond. And third, what I bless, blesses me back. Every time you bless a bill, you authorize its return. Every time you speak love over your supply, you summon its increase. The world told you that money is neutral. I tell you now, it is not. It is responsive. It reflects the tone of its master. So speak to it as sacred. Call it by name, assign it by law, and watch it return, clothed in favor, dripping in multiplication. These three phrases are not to be tested. They are to be trusted. They are not to be said once. They are to be lived. Speak them with authority. Walk with them in silence. And every time you hold money, remember, you're not holding paper. You're holding proof of the word in motion. Stand before your mirror, not as one desperate, but as one destined. In your left hand, hold the symbol of substance, a bill, a note, a dollar that carries the history of circulation. In your right hand, hold your heart. Feel it beat. Know that it is not lack you were born into, but law. Not begging, but becoming. The mirror before you is not a surface. It is a signal, a gate, a place where form meets faith and appearance must yield to authority. And the money in your hand? It is not yours to fear. It is yours to speak over. Look into your own eyes and say these words. This reflection is wealth returning to me in every form. Say it again, not as routine, but as resurrection. You are not speaking into glass. You are speaking into God. For every reflection carries the echo of the one who formed you. And when you see your face beside divine supply, you are reminded the one who touches this money is not random, not rejected, but chosen. Speak directly to your own face. You are the image of abundance. You are the voice of increase. You are the expression of spiritual circulation. Then lower your gaze and speak to the cash. You are blessed, you are bold, you are assigned, you return multiplied. Lift your eyes again and close the circuit. I see favor, I speak favor, I attract favor. This is not performance, it is programming. It is not superstition, it is spiritual saturation. And when done with rhythm, reverence, and faith, the cash mirror activation rewrites both your reflection and your reception. No more speaking lack into the air. No more hiding your eyes from the truth. From this moment, your voice leads. Your image agrees. Your finances follow. Every time you speak the word of supply, the shadow will try to speak back. Doubt is a thief of rhythm. It enters not with a roar, but with a whisper. What if it doesn't work? That voice, familiar, logical, even protective, does not come from divine mind. It is the echo of appearances, the residue of past failures, the lingering illusion that what is visible holds more power than what is spoken. But I tell you, when doubt appears, it is not time to think. It is time to substitute. The mind may question, but the mouth must command. The law of substitution is your sword. It is the divine override. You do not entertain the fear. You replace it. You do not negotiate with lack. You speak truth in its place. And here is the phrase to plant in the soil of every fearful thought. This word never returns void. Say it slowly. Say it loudly. Say it as if your whole lineage is listening. Because it is. This sentence is not comfort. It is contract. It is taken straight from Scripture. So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please. Isaiah 55:11. When you speak with this law in your bones, the fear must dissolve. The question must fall. The appearance must shift. Fear says, "What if this is foolish?" You say, "This word never returns void." Fear says, "But I've spoken before and nothing happened." You say, "This word never returns void." Fear says, "You don't deserve abundance." You say, "This word never returns void." You see, the law is not emotional. It is exact. It does not reward tears. It responds to truth. So when doubt appears, substitute immediately. Do not linger. Do not explain. Do not fight with shadows. Replace them. And soon, you will find that the very thought which once triggered fear now triggers faith. You cannot afford to speak casually anymore. The age of idle words is over. The mouth is not a toy, it is a throne. Every sentence you speak either multiplies or subtracts. There is no neutral language in the kingdom of spiritual law. When you speak lack, even in jest, you authorize delay. When you say, "I'm broke, I can't afford it," money doesn't grow on trees. You are not just expressing frustration. You are sowing a field of famine, and the harvest will obey your mouth. But when you speak only multiplication, supply, and release, you align your words with divine circulation. You turn the tongue from a weapon of worry into a wand of wealth. You build momentum with your mouth. Here is your training. Do not describe lack. Do not echo fear. Do not repeat phrases that curse your own supply. Instead, condition your mouth to prophesy provision. I am a walking vessel of divine increase. Money flows through me and back to me, blessed and multiplied. Every dollar I touch expands. I bless my bills. I speak to my wallet. I declare overflow. When your mouth is disciplined, your life becomes deliberate. This is not about forcing belief. This is about forming a habit of truth. The more you speak multiplication, the more you see it. The more you see it, the more you bless it. The more you bless it, the more it returns, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Watch your words, beloved. Every joke, every aside, every casual curse you place upon your own money is a reversal. but every declaration of faith is a seed, and the law does not mock you. It fulfills what you speak. Your words are gates, and some gates must never be opened again. There are phrases that may feel harmless, even relatable, but they are poison dipped in familiarity. These are the phrases that block supply, delay manifestation, and invite stagnation, and they must be banished from your vocabulary forever. The first? I can't afford that. This is not humility. This is limitation dressed as logic. When you speak these words, you announce to divine substance, there is no way. But the moment you say it, you close the door to unexpected channels. Instead, speak the law. If it is mine by divine right, it appears in perfect time. The second? Money goes too fast. This is the language of leaky consciousness. You are declaring instability, insecurity, and fear of loss. And what you fear, you magnetize. Replace it with, money flows to me richly and remains under divine direction. And the most dangerous of all, I'm broke. To declare this is not to describe a condition. It is to accept an identity. Broke is not your name. Lack is not your inheritance. Never again attach the I am to anything you do not wish to embody. Instead, declare, I am a vessel of supply. I am divinely funded at all times. These phrases are not just bad habits, they are verbal contracts with insufficiency. And the law cannot bring abundance to a consciousness locked in contradiction. You cannot serve both truth and tradition. Cancel every phrase that echoes lack. Replace it with rhythm, law, and divine certainty. Train your tongue, and the world will respond. Because money does not just follow work, it follows word. He was down to his last few bills. Rent was due in 4 days. The temptation to panic, to plead, to spiral into old thought loops clawed at his mind. He had been here before. The fear, the shame, the bargaining with heaven. But this time, he did something different. He took the cash in his hand, closed the door, and said aloud, this is not just rent. This is seed. He had read the principle that spoken word blesses substance, that your words are not commentary, they are causation. So he blessed the bills. He thanked God for supply. He whispered, this multiplies under grace and in perfect ways. And he repeated it, not with begging, but with spiritual certainty. Within 48 hours, an old client reached out. A friend had referred him without being asked. A new project was offered, and the deposit covered twice what rent required. There was no stress, no scrambling, only a flow that came through the channel of faithful speech. You see, he didn't just speak over money. He rewrote what money meant. It was no longer survival. It became signal, evidence that divine mind was moving, responding, releasing. His rent money became more than enough because his mouth declared it as such. The world would have told him to hold tight, to fear, to wait. But divine law says, speak to the seed and call forth the harvest. And so he did. Let this be your reminder. You are never down to your last. You are always holding possibility. And when you name it as seed, it knows how to multiply. Fear makes people grab. Fear makes people grip. Fear whispers, you better hold on tight. This might be the last. And in that moment of spiritual panic, they unknowingly cut off the flow. Money is not meant to be hoarded. It is meant to be moved, blessed, declared, circulated. And anything that is forced into stillness by fear begins to decay in consciousness. I say unto you, don't clutch, declare. The law of circulation is divine. Just as blood must move, just as breath must flow, so too must money pass through hands anointed by faith. And if your hand is clenched in fear, there is no room to receive. But when you release with blessing, when you spend in rhythm with trust, you trigger the law that says, give, and it shall be given unto you. Each time you spend, even on the smallest item, do not allow dread to speak first. Do not let the ego say, there it goes. Instead, speak boldly. What leaves multiplies. Say it at the register. Say it when you tap your card. Say it as you bless your rent, your groceries, your giving. This returns multiplied under grace. Because the truth is this: you never truly spend money. You send it. You circulate it. You assign it. And your word is the envelope that determines its return. Let your circulation be conscious. Let your giving be joyful. Let your mouth bless every outflow. For what you bless cannot disappear. It is already on its way back to you, pressed down, shaken together, running over. The last voice you hear before sleep is the architect of your tomorrow. And most people lie down in fear, in calculation, in mental rehearsal of lack. They fall asleep clutching spreadsheets of scarcity, rehearsing conversations rooted in debt. And then they wonder why they rise weary, anxious, dry. But I tell you, there is another way. You can sleep in the atmosphere of supply. You can fall into rest while your mind is soaking in the truth of abundance. Here is the ritual, simple, sacred, supernatural. Before bed, clear your space. Set the tone with silence or soft gratitude. Then, take a bill of any amount, $1 or $100. It makes no difference. It is not about the number, but the faith in the symbol. Place it gently under your pillow, not as superstition, but as a point of contact. As you lie down, place your right hand over your heart. Close your eyes and speak aloud. I lay down in increase. I rest in divine provision. I rise in multiplied favor. Let these be the final words your subconscious hears before descending into deep sleep. You are not falling asleep in hope. You are falling asleep in truth. You are not begging supply. You are embedding supply into your inner chambers. Overnight, the subconscious, which never sleeps, begins to organize reality to match your word. Opportunities begin moving. Invisible channels begin forming. But most importantly, your vibration lifts because you have chosen to rest, not in logic, but in law. The world may lay down in lack, but you will lay down in increase. You will train the silence of the night to echo abundance. You will make your bedroom a sanctuary of supply. And by morning, you will find yourself wrapped in divine response. Sleep, child of God, not with doubt in your mouth, but with declaration on your lips. For 7 days, you are invited into a sacred experiment, not one of striving or effort, but of holy declaration. Each morning, before the distractions of the world find you, before logic and memory come knocking, I want you to reach for any amount of cash. It does not matter how small. A crumpled 5, a single bill, a lone coin. What matters is not the amount, but the authority with which you speak. Hold the money gently in your hand, and with your other hand laid over your chest, your spiritual altar, declare this. This cash is holy, and it multiplies by my word. Say it with reverence. Say it with rhythm. Say it until the sound shakes something in your chest. Say it until the dollar in your hand no longer looks the same, because you have spiritually upgraded it with your vibration. Do this for 7 days. One phrase, one act. No begging, no analysis. Just the discipline of dominion. And as you speak it, watch how life responds. Watch how provision appears in unexpected places. Watch how fear loses its voice. Watch how even the smallest purchases carry the scent of favor. This is not a ritual of superstition. This is alignment in practice. You are not speaking to impress God. You are speaking to remind yourself that you are in covenant with law, and law responds. For 7 days, make this your altar. A hand, a dollar, a phrase. This cash is holy, and it multiplies by my word. And when the week ends, it won't just be the money that multiplies. It will be your identity. There is one final wall that must come down before the floodgates of supply swing open, and it is not outside of you. It is not the government, the employer, the market, or the parent. The most stubborn block is guilt. The most hidden dam is shame. And the most expensive price you'll ever pay is unforgiveness toward yourself. You say you want abundance, but part of you still believes you're unworthy to receive. You remember the poor choices. You recall the overdrafts, the debt, the fear-driven spending. You've whispered, "I should have known better," more times than you've spoken truth. But I say to you now, none of that disqualifies you from divine supply. Your past does not cancel your permission. Your missteps do not nullify your right. God does not consult your financial history before opening the storehouse. So right now, release it. Place your hand over your heart and declare with me, "I forgive myself, I release myself, I redeem this vessel for divine circulation." Say it again. I forgive myself for wasting money. I forgive myself for fearing money. I forgive myself for believing I could lose what God gave me. Forgiveness is not passive. It is a spiritual command that unfreezes the flow. When you forgive, you remove the static from the supply line. When you forgive, money is no longer repelled by your vibration. It returns. It expands. It responds. Do not let the memory of lack rob you of the moment of now. The divine has no interest in punishing your past. It is only concerned with whether you will speak now, whether you will bless now, whether you will receive now. Spoken release equals new circulation, so say it, mean it, let the dam break. Forgive and be made financially whole. Do not despise your little, for it is not how much you hold, but how you behold it. The Master himself, Jesus, our metaphysical teacher, stood before 5 loaves and 2 fish. A multitude watched, and the disciples panicked. Their eyes saw lack, their minds saw limitation. But Jesus, the great demonstrator of divine law, did not ask for more. He spoke over what he had. He looked up. He gave thanks. He blessed what was already in his hands. And in that moment of spoken blessing, the natural submitted to the supernatural. Multiplication began, not after more arrived, but after the word was spoken. This is not folklore. This is not myth. This is a law. Jesus did not model miracles for entertainment. He modeled the multiplication of spiritual substance through the power of spoken agreement. He never begged for more. He never waited to feel ready. He knew that blessing the few was the key to feeding the many. So I say to you now, do not wait for your bank account to grow before you speak wealth. Do not wait for the raise, the refund, the miracle check in the mail. Speak now. Bless now. Multiply now. What you hold is not the end. It is the entry point. It is your loaves. It is your fish. Place your hand over your purse, your wallet, your handful of cash. Look up and speak. I bless what I have. I multiply what I hold. I give thanks, and it returns to me full. In the eyes of the world, you may look empty, but in the realm of spirit, gratitude is the womb of wealth. And the moment you bless, you break the illusion of not enough. Jesus did not wait for more. He thanked God for less, and that is when heaven released overflow. Every time you spend money, you speak a truth or a lie. You either say, "There's not enough," or you say, "This returns multiplied." There is no neutral transaction. Every swipe, every click, every cash handoff is either a spiritual contraction or an expansion of faith. And if you do not speak over your spending, your subconscious will speak for you, usually in the language of fear, guilt, or lack. But I tell you now, as a practitioner of divine law, you must sanctify your circulation. You must speak as you spend. When money leaves your hand, it does not vanish. It does not die. It obeys the law of circulation. It moves, it works, it travels through unseen paths, and if you bless it, it returns. Not as it was, but multiplied by the faith that sent it. That is why I instruct you. Every time you release money, say aloud, "This returns multiplied. I spend with joy. I receive with power. Money is my servant, and it returns to me trained in abundance." Do not wait until the bank is empty to become conscious. Practice at the grocery store, at the gas station, in the coffee shop. Turn your spending into scripture. Speak truth as the receipt prints. Bless the bill as you tip. And watch the universe keep the ledger, for it does. You may be unseen in the store, but heaven hears what you say when you buy. You are either a spiritual hoarder or a holy circulator. There is no middle ground. So today, declare, I am the voice of multiplication. I speak and money obeys. What leaves my hand returns in divine form. The law is not mocked. The mouth is not silent. Speak as you spend, and the world must return your word fulfilled. There was a woman who dreaded the due date. Every month, her hands would tremble as she clicked Pay Now. The rent, the utilities, the groceries, each transaction felt like loss. Each payment felt like proof that she was shrinking, not expanding. Her mouth, though silent, repeated an old inner phrase, I never get ahead, and what you say in silence still echoes in the unseen. But then came a shift. She heard the word, speak as you spend. She resisted at first. It felt foolish. But the next time she paid a bill, instead of fear, she opened her mouth with faith and said, this bill is paid in love. This money circulates and returns multiplied. I am not losing. I am sowing into divine flow. That one sentence broke the tension. She kept speaking it, over the electric bill, the rent, even while buying toothpaste. She declared wealth even as the numbers dropped. Within 3 weeks, her supervisor called her into the office. Unexpectedly, she was offered a raise, retroactive to the start of the month. She hadn't asked, she hadn't begged, but she had spoken, and her mouth, once a mirror of fear, had become a magnet for divine increase. She said to me with tears in her eyes, it wasn't magic, it was the law. My mouth became a magnet, not a mirror. Her story is not rare, it is proof. Proof that what you say while you release is what determines what returns. Money doesn't respond to silence, it responds to spirit. And your spirit is encoded in your word. So if you want more, speak more. Not in volume, but in vibration. Not with desperation, but with dominion. And remember, you do not pay bills. You speak provision, and the world rearranges itself to obey. There is a rhythm in heaven and a rhythm in your mouth. When those two align, the world must yield. Words are not mere sounds, they are spiritual forces. They go out and prepare the way, shape the form, break the dam, and summon the flow. If you wish to multiply money, do not just count it, command it. Now we enter the sacred rhythm. 7 declarations, encoded with spiritual law. Speak them aloud. Speak them often. Speak them like a priest in a holy economy. Let your voice be the vault that opens unseen doors. 1. My money listens to my mouth. Every dollar you hold responds to voice. It is not inanimate. It is a reflection of your command. When you speak increase, you train the substance. 2. What I touch turns to treasure. You are not cursed. You are not behind. You are a blessing in human form, and everything under your touch becomes provision. 3. I magnetize supply. You do not chase. You do not strive. You are a divine field that pulls the needed, the appointed, the abundant toward your being. 4. No good thing is withheld. You walk under open heavens. God is not stingy. The universe is not bankrupt. There is no lack in the storehouse of spirit. 5. Cash obeys divine order. It does not scatter in chaos. It does not vanish in fear. It finds its proper path by the law of increase and returns to the source that blessed it. 6. My word multiplies what I hold. What's in your hand may look small, but if your word is big, your future expands. Speak over the little, and it shall become much. 7. I am a speaking vault of increase. You are not empty. You are not weak. You are a temple of provision, a vault of divine riches, and the key is your word. Repeat these often, before you buy, before you spend, before you fear. Speak them while you hold cash. Speak them before sleep. Speak them into the atmosphere. And let it be known, heaven listens when you declare. The vault opens, the flow begins, and the world bends to your spiritual decree. Now we come to the hour of agreement, the midnight moment where all that has been heard becomes what is now declared. For what is ritual but remembrance, and what is remembrance but power reawakened? You will stand, not as a beggar, but as a master of divine law. You will hold, not lack, not debt, but the substance of faith wrapped in paper. And you will speak, not to impress, not to pretend, but to command. Go to your mirror. Go at midnight, the symbolic hour of transition, where one day ends and another begins. This is not superstition. This is alignment. For midnight represents the unseen, the hidden place where seeds break before they rise. You will take the cash, yes, even a single dollar, and you will hold it in your hands as sacred. Look into your eyes. Do not flinch. Do not blink. Let your gaze be holy. And when silence wraps the room, say this aloud. In my hands, wealth obeys the word. Through my mouth, abundance is commanded. I now multiply by faith, not fear. Let it settle. Let it echo. Let the room remember it. Let your body record it. Say it 3 times, each one with deeper breath, with broader spine, with truer knowing. This is not about the mirror. This is not about the cash. This is about training your temple to vibrate at the frequency of overflow. It is about letting the word become flesh and wealth. And no demon of doubt may cross the threshold once this ritual is spoken in full belief. And when you wake, do not ask, "Where is it?" Say instead, "It is already in motion." Heaven heard you. Your supply obeys. The multiplication begins now. He had $20 to his name, not just in his wallet, but in his life. $20 and the weight of shame that comes with wondering if you failed. Rent was due. Phone calls were avoided. The mind raced through all the old programming. You're irresponsible. You'll never get ahead. Maybe you weren't meant for more. But this time, he did not repeat the curse. He remembered what I said. Every dollar is a spiritual soldier. You don't count it, you bless it. So he did not scold the 20. He sanctified it. He laid the bill out on his desk, smooth and straight, like a seed ready for planting. He placed both hands over it, not to hold, but to speak. And with a steady voice, he declared, "You are blessed, you are multiplied, you are magnetized. You are not my last, you are my link." He repeated it 7 times, slowly, rhythmically, with reverence, not desperation. That night, he slept, not in fear, but in faith. The next morning, an old friend sent a message. "I've been thinking about your business. Can I send a few clients your way?" By the end of the week, his calendar was full, his phone was ringing, and his fear had vanished like mist under morning sun. But it wasn't just business. His posture changed. He stopped apologizing for his needs. He stopped over-explaining his worth. His relationships softened. His spine straightened. Because the moment he blessed that $20, he wasn't waiting to be rich. He was already rich in command. The amount did not matter. The word did. The 20 was never meant to stay. It was meant to obey. And it did. Bless your money, not because you're broke, but because it belongs to God. Speak not from scarcity, but from spiritual dominion. And remember, every dollar listens, every dollar learns, every dollar returns. Now I invite you, beloved, not just to hear this truth, but to live it. If these words have found you, if they stirred something holy in your chest, then let your first act of alignment be this. Speak it into the comments below. I bless what I hold. I multiply what I speak. Write it not as a gesture, but as a decree. Let the written word mirror your spoken word. Let heaven and algorithm alike agree with your declaration. You are not subscribing to a channel. You are subscribing to the spoken life. Each time you return here, you return to yourself. You return to your source. You return to the rhythm of multiplication that has been yours since the foundation of the world. So return daily, speak boldly, hold your money with reverence, and remember, your mouth is the mold of your miracle. Say the word and watch it return full. There is a living intelligence within all things. Even within the crisp fold of a dollar bill, the golden gleam of a coin, the silent figures glowing on a bank screen. Money is not a cold object nor a cruel master, it is a friend, a companion, a mirror of your own inner belief. When you speak to money, it hears you. When you fear it, it flees. When you bless it, it multiplies. For every thought you hold toward money is a seed cast into the garden of your affairs, and what you plant in spirit shall bloom in form. Most people talk about money, but rarely to it. They speak of its absence, its delay, its difficulty. I never have enough, they say, and money, like a faithful servant, obeys. It stays away, respecting the command hidden within complaint. Yet when you begin to speak to money as you would a dear friend, kindly, lovingly, with faith, it begins to return your affection. Say to it, "You are welcome here. You come to me freely and joyfully, and together we bless the world." Such words are not idle fancy. They are commands spoken into the substance of the universe. Money is energy made visible. It flows where it is invited with gratitude, and it retreats where it is met with guilt or fear. If you clutch it, it grows anxious. If you curse it, it hides. But when you recognize it as divine substance, as part of the infinite supply that flows through all creation, it becomes your joyful companion. You need not chase it, for love never chases, it magnetizes. When you speak to money with assurance and serenity, you stand in the law of abundance, and the law always fulfills itself. Imagine speaking to money each morning as you would to a trusted ally. "Good morning, my friend. I bless you and release you to do your perfect work. Wherever you go, you bring good. Wherever you return, you multiply in peace." You will find that the tone of your finances begins to change, not because the world outside shifts first, but because your vibration has become harmonious with the rhythm of supply. The great secret is that money is consciousness, and consciousness responds to consciousness. You cannot be in the vibration of lack and expect the form of plenty. The outer is the servant of the inner. When you love and respect money as divine substance, you invite divine order into your affairs. It will come by right of consciousness, not by struggle or striving. For the universe loves balance, and it always restores it to those who live in faith. So speak to money, not in fear, but in friendship. Speak to it as you would to any being of light, with gratitude, with confidence, with joy. Let your words form a covenant of abundance, and money will answer, "I am here. I have always been here, waiting for your welcome." A money responds to your thoughts and words because it is not merely paper, metal, or digital numbers. It is a living vibration, a form of divine energy that takes shape according to the consciousness that calls it forth. Every word spoken about money carries a frequency, and that frequency creates form. The unseen laws of the universe do not recognize doubt or despair as idle thoughts, they translate them into experiences. When one says, "I never have enough," the law listens and fulfills the decree. When one says, "Money flows to me easily and abundantly," the same law obeys, rearranging circumstances, opportunities, and ideas to match that vibration. Money is a mirror, reflecting the inner dialogue we hold about worth, deservingness, and supply. If within the mind there is a belief that wealth is scarce, difficult, or tainted with guilt, money will seem elusive. If within the heart there is confidence that supply is infinite, and that abundance is a divine birthright, money will appear as naturally as air fills the lungs. This is not imagination but alignment. The universe, like a faithful servant, obeys the tone of command hidden within our words and thoughts. We are constantly writing orders to the invisible with every affirmation, complaint, or declaration that crosses our lips. When you speak of money with frustration, fear, or resentment, you are instructing it to behave as an enemy. Money hears, not through human ears, but through vibration. The tone of complaint sends out a signal that pushes it away, while the tone of gratitude invites it near. Many people unknowingly repel wealth by speaking words of lack. They say, "I can't afford that. Money doesn't stay with me." Or, "It's so hard to make ends meet." And the universe, impartial and obedient, manifests exactly those conditions. To shift this pattern, one must speak differently, not with pretense, but with authority rooted in faith. When you say, "Money is my friend, it flows to me freely and joyfully," you are not lying to yourself. You are declaring the truth that exists beyond appearances. Faith always speaks before it sees. Your words are the brushstrokes painting the reality of your experience. If the mind continues to dwell on insufficiency, the picture remains barren. But when you affirm abundance, when you speak of prosperity as already present, you awaken the divine law of increase. The energy of money begins to flow toward you through unexpected channels. Through ideas, through people. Through timing that seems miraculous, but is simply the result of mental alignment. Every thought about money forms a magnetic pattern in your energy field. This pattern either opens or closes the gates through which supply can enter. Think of yourself as a broadcasting station, constantly sending out messages. The frequency of fear says, "I don't have enough," and the universe, hearing lack, echoes back more lack. The frequency of confidence says, "I am richly supplied," and the universe, hearing sufficiency, multiplies it. The shift happens not in the outer world, but in the consciousness that sustains it. Money follows thought as faithfully as a shadow follows form. Words are creative power in action. They are not mere sound. They are spiritual law-given voice. When you speak with conviction, you command the unseen substance of the universe to take shape according to your decree. Every time you bless money, you bless the flow of your own life. Every time you curse it, you block the channels through which it would come. The key is to become aware of your habitual speech. Do you speak of bills with dread or gratitude? Do you discuss money as a constant struggle or as a divine opportunity? Your answer determines the vibration of your finances. To speak positively about money is not to deny temporary appearances of lack. It is to refuse to give them authority. You can look at an empty wallet and still declare, "I am supplied from infinite substance." You can receive a bill and still affirm, "Every debt is dissolved in divine order." These are not empty phrases, they are spiritual commands. When repeated with faith and calm assurance, they rewire your subconscious mind, replacing fear with expectancy. The subconscious then directs your actions and perceptions to align with those affirmations. You begin to notice opportunities, solutions, and channels of supply that were invisible before. The law of mind is exact. It cannot produce abundance from thoughts of poverty, nor can it bring lack from thoughts of prosperity. The substance of the universe is impersonal and obedient. It becomes whatever you impress upon it. Thus, to change your financial conditions, you must change the language you use and the thoughts you think about money. Each thought is a seed planted in the soil of universal intelligence, and every word is the watering of that seed. Speak fear, and you water weeds. Speak faith, and you nurture fruit. Money responds to praise. Bless every dollar that comes to you and every dollar that goes out. Say, "You are blessed," and you return multiplied. This attitude transforms the act of spending into a ritual of circulation rather than loss. When you spend with fear, you contract the flow. When you spend with joy, you expand it. Money, like any energy, must move to remain alive. When you appreciate it, you keep its current vibrant and abundant. When you despise or hoard it, it grows stagnant and heavy. The energy of money loves lightness, gratitude, and flow. It is essential to monitor not only what you say aloud, but what you whisper silently in your heart. Thoughts unspoken still shape reality. When you envy the wealth of others, you declare separation from abundance. When you bless the prosperity of others, you align yourself with that same vibration. Every time you see success, say within yourself, "That good is also mine in divine right order." In that moment, you are speaking to money and to the law of supply itself, affirming unity rather than division. The practice of speaking to money consciously is an act of re-education. Most people have been taught to associate money with fear, greed, or struggle. To reverse these ideas, one must speak new words until they become natural. It requires persistence and gentleness, for the subconscious resists sudden change. Yet with repetition, the new pattern takes root. Speak to money as you would to a loyal friend, calmly, lovingly, with gratitude for its service. Thank it for what it allows you to give and receive. Recognize it as divine substance circulating for the good of all. Every conversation you have about money, whether internal or external, sets a direction for your life. Each phrase plants a seed in the field of cause and effect. If you want to see wealth in form, you must first speak wealth in spirit. Speak as one who already possesses, not as one who is waiting. Speak from faith, not from fear. Your words are your wand. They command the invisible to obey. When you understand this, you begin to choose your words with care, knowing that each syllable is creative, each thought magnetic, and each feeling a silent prayer that money hears and responds to in kind. Speak to money with love, not fear. For love is the great magnet that draws all good things toward you, while fear scatters them like leaves in the wind. Money, like every form of divine substance, is sensitive to the tone of the heart that calls it. When you fear it, mistrust it, or resent it, you build an invisible wall between yourself and supply. Fear contracts the flow of energy, love expands it. Love is the vibration of faith, of confidence in divine order, while fear is the vibration of disbelief, separation, and doubt. The two cannot dwell together. When you begin to speak to money with the spirit of love, you invite harmony into your affairs, and that harmony is reflected in your financial life. Money is not something to be chased or clutched, for that is the language of fear. It is something to be welcomed and appreciated, for that is the language of love. When you say to money, "I love you for the good you allow me to do," you elevate it from mere currency to a channel of blessing. Love purifies your relationship with money. It removes guilt and shame from the act of receiving, and replaces them with gratitude and worthiness. Many people secretly fear money because they have been taught to see it as a symbol of greed, corruption, or loss. Yet money itself is neutral. It takes on the character of the one who uses it. In loving money rightly, you are not worshipping it. You are recognizing it as divine energy moving in form, an instrument through which good can flow. When you fear money, when you worry about bills or dread its departure, you affirm separation from supply. The universe mirrors your inner state, and fear whispers to it, "There is not enough." Love, on the other hand, declares, "All that I need comes to me easily, for I am one with infinite substance." Fear sees money as an external power, unpredictable and untrustworthy. Love sees it as a friend, faithful and ever-present. The fearful mind chases and clings, while the loving mind attracts and receives. In this simple shift from fear to love, you step out of the vibration of scarcity and into the frequency of abundance. Love speaks softly and calmly. It says, "You are welcome here. You come to me freely and joyfully. I bless your coming and your going." These are not idle words but living vibrations that move through the unseen substance of the universe, shaping conditions to reflect them. Fear speaks intention. What if I lose it? What if it's not enough? What if it never returns? Those words are also prayers, but prayers of lack, which the universe, ever obedient, fulfills. To speak to money with love is to re-educate your subconscious mind, to teach it that money is safe, that it is a friend and not a threat, that abundance is natural and not a burden. Money responds to the emotional tone of your thoughts. If your inner conversation is filled with anxiety, the energy of money feels that turbulence and mirrors it in your affairs. Sudden expenses, delays, or uncertainty. When your inner state is calm, grateful, and loving, money flows with ease, as though drawn by invisible hands. Love opens doors that fear has locked. It opens your perception to ideas, connections, and opportunities that were always there, but hidden by the fog of worry. When you love money, you are really loving the divine intelligence that animates it, the same intelligence that moves through air, light, and life itself. To speak to money with love is to treat it as something alive, something deserving of respect and tenderness. When you hold a coin or a note, bless it silently. Say within yourself, "You are a symbol of divine abundance. I bless your journey and your return." This simple act changes the vibration of your energy field. Love radiates warmth and expansion. Fear radiates coldness and contraction. The more you fill your words and thoughts about money with love, the more magnetic your vibration becomes to prosperity. Love dissolves resistance. It heals the wounds created by years of fear and scarcity thinking. It replaces the old story of struggle with a new story of ease. When you love money, you no longer feel guilty for desiring it. You understand that desire is simply the divine urging within you to express more of life. Fear says, "I must not ask for too much." But love says, "I am an open channel for infinite good." When you speak to money from love, you affirm your oneness with the source of all wealth. There is no pleading, no grasping, only calm assurance that what belongs to you by divine right cannot be withheld. Every word spoken in love is creative power in motion. The universe hears through vibration, not vocabulary. You could say nothing aloud, but hold the feeling of love toward money in your heart, and it would still respond. Love is the secret language of abundance. It does not demand, it blesses. It does not chase, it magnetizes. The vibration of love toward money carries the message, "I trust you. I know you are good. I am grateful for your presence." That trust dissolves every barrier built by fear. The moment you stop fearing money, you stop repelling it. Think of love as light. When you shine it upon money, every shadow of anxiety disappears. Fear says, "What if there isn't enough?" Love says, "The universe is infinite, and so is supply." Fear says, "I don't deserve wealth." Love says, "I am worthy of every good thing." Fear focuses on loss, love focuses on circulation. Money loves to move, and love keeps it flowing. When you love money, you allow it to move freely through you. To come in, to go out, to return again, always carrying blessings. To speak to money with love, you must also love yourself, for the two are inseparable. The way you treat yourself is the pattern of how money treats you. If you criticize yourself, money will seem to criticize you by showing up inconsistently. If you value yourself, money will mirror that value by arriving with consistency and grace. Love within attracts love without. When you affirm, "I am worthy of wealth. I am grateful for my prosperity," you are speaking not only to money, but to the divine within you that creates it. Love transforms even the smallest act of financial exchange into a sacred ritual. Paying a bill becomes an act of blessing, not loss. Receiving income becomes an act of gratitude, not pride. Giving becomes a joy, not a duty. Love removes the heaviness from money matters and replaces it with lightness and peace. You find that as you love money rightly, it becomes a silent partner in your purpose, a tool for freedom and creation rather than a source of worry. Fear, however, tries to hold on, to control, to hoard. It whispers that there will not be enough tomorrow, that generosity will bring loss, that ease is dangerous. Love knows otherwise. Love knows that giving releases more good, that circulation multiplies, that the universe cannot be depleted. Love says, "I trust the flow," and in that trust, the flow strengthens. Fear stands in the river trying to hold the water still. Love steps into the current and lets it carry her toward greater good. Speaking to money with love requires practice, for the world teaches fear at every turn. But each loving word, each blessing spoken over your finances, rewires the old conditioning. When you bless your income, your bills, your wallet, your bank account, you are infusing them with the vibration of abundance. You are teaching your mind that money is not a monster but a messenger of divine good. You are shifting your entire relationship with supply from one of tension to one of harmony. When you speak to money with love, you are speaking the language of creation itself, for love is the original vibration from which all substance flows. Every atom, every current of energy, every opportunity responds to love's tone. It aligns the seen and unseen to fulfill your faith. Fear commands the doors of supply to close. Love commands them to open. When your heart speaks love, the universe listens and says yes, for it always answers in kind to the vibration that calls it. Gratitude magnetizes abundance because it aligns the soul with the highest law of increase. Gratitude is not merely polite thankfulness. It is a living vibration, a spiritual magnet that draws to you everything that matches its frequency. When you give thanks for what you have, you expand your capacity to receive more. When you focus on what is missing, you contract your energy and repel the flow of good. Gratitude is the invisible key that unlocks every door of prosperity. It tells the universe, I see my blessings. I recognize the good already present, and the universe, hearing that recognition, multiplies it. The spirit of gratitude is a signal to the divine that you are ready for more. It is the consciousness that says, I trust that I am always cared for, that I am part of infinite supply. The grateful person lives in harmony with abundance, while the ungrateful one vibrates with lack. Every time you speak words of appreciation for money, opportunities, and resources, you open wider the channels through which prosperity flows. Gratitude turns every coin into gold, every small opportunity into a doorway to greater things. It transforms ordinary moments into stepping stones for miracles. When you bless the money you have, no matter how little it may seem, you increase its vibration. Gratitude multiplies by law. To say, I am grateful for this, even when appearances suggest insufficiency, is to call upon the unseen substance of abundance. The law of mind responds not to numbers but to feelings. A single dollar blessed with gratitude carries the vibration of plenty, while $1,000 cursed with worry carries the vibration of lack. The universe mirrors your emotion, not your arithmetic. Gratitude elevates the energy of everything it touches. When you rise in the morning, speak words of thanks for your life, your breath, your home, your supply. Say, thank you, Infinite Spirit, for the abundance that flows to me freely. Feel the warmth of that statement until it fills your being. Gratitude felt deeply is creative. It is a prayer that commands the invisible to move. You cannot be in the vibration of gratitude and lack at the same time. One cancels the other. Gratitude lifts you to the level where abundance already exists, and from that higher plane, everything you need comes effortlessly. The ungrateful mind focuses on what is missing and thereby strengthens the absence of it. It counts the bills but not the blessings. It says, I will be thankful when I have more. And the universe, responding perfectly, says, then you must wait. Gratitude, however, reverses this order. It says, I am thankful now, and because I am thankful now, more comes. It is the act of acknowledging divine supply before it appears in form. This act of faith bends reality to match your belief. Gratitude does not wait for evidence, it creates evidence. Every time you give thanks for money, you sanctify it. You infuse it with spiritual light. When you receive payment or income, whisper, thank you, divine substance, for this expression of prosperity. When you spend money, say, thank you for circulating through me to bless others. Such words transform spending into an act of expansion rather than loss. Gratitude removes the fear of depletion because it recognizes that giving and receiving are one. The more you bless what leaves, the more joyfully what returns. Gratitude is not limited to large things. It is most powerful when expressed for the smallest details. The person who gives thanks for every coin in their purse, for every meal on their table, for every kind word received, develops an atmosphere of abundance. This atmosphere becomes magnetic, drawing to them more of what they appreciate. Life itself rushes to meet the heart that praises. When you live in gratitude, you vibrate in harmony with the infinite. You become a vessel through which blessings flow freely, without obstruction. The energy of gratitude clears away the fog of fear. It dissolves anxiety about money by shifting attention from what is missing to what is present. Fear says, I must hold on, for I may not have enough tomorrow. Gratitude says, I have enough now, and tomorrow will take care of itself. In that calm assurance, your energy expands and expansion always attracts. Fear contracts, gratitude opens. Every word of appreciation you speak widens the channel of supply a little more. Gratitude also refines your perception. It trains the mind to see opportunity where others see lack. When you are grateful, your awareness sharpens, and you begin to notice new possibilities, small openings, subtle hints, ideas waiting to be acted upon. The grateful mind sees doors where the ungrateful mind sees walls. This shift in perception is the very mechanism through which abundance manifests. Gratitude does not change the outer world first, it changes your vision, and your vision then shapes the world. There is deep power in blessing what others have. When you see someone prospering, do not fall into envy or judgment. Instead, give thanks for their success, knowing that their good is proof of what is possible for all. Say within yourself, I am grateful for the prosperity that flows through them, for it shows me what divine abundance looks like in form. Gratitude toward the success of others erases the vibration of competition and replaces it with unity. The universe loves harmony, and gratitude restores you to it. Even apparent loss can be met with gratitude. When something leaves your life, whether money, work, or opportunity, bless it with thanks for what it brought and what it taught. Gratitude in moments of challenge is the highest form of faith. It declares, even this serves my good. That statement releases resistance and allows something better to arrive. Gratitude keeps the current of life moving forward. It prevents stagnation by transforming endings into beginnings. The practice of daily gratitude changes the vibration of your home, your work, and your body. Speak words of thanks aloud, for spoken gratitude carries a stronger charge than silent thought. Write your thanks, let the rhythm of the words impress them upon your subconscious. Feel gratitude in your body, let it become an atmosphere around you. When gratitude becomes your habitual tone, abundance cannot help but respond. You will find doors opening effortlessly, ideas unfolding smoothly, people eager to assist, and money flowing where it once stalled. Gratitude is the soul's acknowledgement of divine order. It says, all is well, even if I cannot yet see how. That statement aligns you with the creative intelligence that governs all things. It is impossible to worry while feeling truly thankful. The two vibrations cannot coexist. The moment you turn your focus toward what is working, the energy of worry loses its grip. Gratitude places you in the present moment, and the present moment is the only place where creation occurs. From this place of stillness, abundance takes shape naturally. Gratitude also softens the heart. It replaces resentment with peace, impatience with trust, and bitterness with joy. When your heart is soft, you become a clear channel through which divine substance flows. Money, opportunities, and ideas come easily to the one whose heart is open. Gratitude opens that door. It heals the old wounds of scarcity, transforming them into faith. It rewires the mind from, I never have enough, to, I am always provided for. That inner assurance becomes a magnetic field around you, attracting circumstances that match it. When you move through life with gratitude, every exchange becomes sacred. You begin to see abundance not as something to chase, but as something that surrounds you already. Gratitude reveals that prosperity is not a distant goal but a living presence, waiting for your recognition. Every thank you spoken in sincerity is a command to the universe. Continue this good. Multiply this blessing. The universe, ever obedient, echoes that command, sending back more of what you appreciate. Gratitude, then, is the silent architect of all abundance, the unseen force that arranges every detail to reflect your inner state of praise. Inner consciousness creates outer wealth, because the world you experience is a mirror of the thoughts, feelings, and beliefs held within you. Every circumstance, every opportunity, every flow of money or lack thereof begins as an invisible vibration inside the mind. What you hold in consciousness must appear in form, for form is only consciousness made visible. The outer world does not command the inner. It is the inner that speaks first, and the outer obeys. This is a law as unchangeable as gravity, and when understood, it becomes the foundation of true prosperity. Wealth is not created by labor alone, nor by circumstance, inheritance, or luck. These are merely channels through which the invisible substance of thought expresses itself. The true source of wealth is consciousness. An inner conviction that abundance is natural, that supply is infinite, that one is worthy to receive it. When this conviction becomes clear and unwavering, the outer world rearranges itself to reflect it. Opportunities appear, ideas blossom, resources gather, and money moves in alignment with that vibration. The mind is a garden, and thought is the seed. Whatever you plant within will bloom without. If you plant seeds of lack, thoughts such as, "It's too hard," "There's never enough," "I can't afford that," then the soil of your life will produce experiences that match them. But when you plant thoughts of wealth, ease, and confidence, "I am richly supplied. All my needs are met in divine order. I attract prosperous opportunities," the same law brings those to fruition. The law does not discriminate, it simply fulfills what consciousness decrees. The wealthy person and the poor person live in the same world, under the same sky, within the same universe. The difference lies not in their environment, but in their state of consciousness. One sees limitation and reacts with fear, the other sees possibility and responds with faith. The same opportunity can appear to both, yet only the one whose inner vision is tuned to abundance will recognize it. The outer world, to each, will seem to prove them right. The mind is the sculptor, and reality is the clay. When you realize that inner consciousness creates outer wealth, you cease to chase results, and instead begin to cultivate your inner atmosphere. You learn that the feeling of prosperity precedes its physical expression. You cannot wait for the world to make you feel secure. You must feel secure within, and then the world mirrors that feeling. When you think, feel, and act from a state of abundance, life becomes an echo chamber for your faith. The money, the success, the opportunities, they are all reflections of a consciousness that has accepted wealth as its natural condition. To create wealth in consciousness, you must first release every false belief that contradicts it. Fear of not having enough, guilt about receiving, resentment toward those who have more. These are the shadows that block the light of abundance. They live in the subconscious and project themselves into outer conditions. As long as you carry these beliefs, you will unconsciously recreate them in your finances and relationships. To dissolve them, you must bring them to the light of awareness and replace them with truth. Affirm silently, "I am one with the infinite substance of the universe. Supply is mine by divine right. There is no lack in spirit, and therefore no lack in me." The mind must be trained to hold only the thoughts that match the desired outcome. Just as a musician practices scales until harmony becomes second nature, so must you practice thoughts of abundance until they are your natural rhythm. The moment you notice worry or doubt, replace it with truth. When you think of bills, say, "These are simply reminders that circulation is taking place." When you think of opportunities, say, "Divine intelligence guides me to the perfect channels." The repetition of such thoughts impresses them upon the subconscious, and once the subconscious accepts a new pattern, it expresses automatically in form. Your inner images are the blueprint of your financial reality. The clearer and more confident those images, the more precise the outer result. See yourself living in abundance, not as a fantasy but as a present truth. Feel the comfort of it, the ease, the generosity it allows. This visualization is not daydreaming, it is the spiritual act of creation. The universe builds according to mental pictures, and when your pictures are consistent, emotion, charged, and aligned with faith, the outer form must appear. It is impossible to experience permanent wealth while maintaining thoughts of fear, doubt, or unworthiness. Temporary gains may come through effort, but without the foundation of consciousness, they will dissolve as quickly as they appeared. The law demands harmony between inner and outer. If the inner is unsettled, the outer will reflect instability. But when the inner is grounded in calm confidence, the outer must organize itself in support. True wealth is not the money itself, but the consciousness that produces it. When consciousness is rich, the form of wealth can change, and the richness remains. Inner consciousness is shaped by feeling more than by thought alone. You may repeat affirmations with your lips, but if your heart trembles with fear, the vibration of fear will dominate. To create wealth, you must feel as though you already possess it. Feel the relief, the joy, the freedom of being fully supplied. This feeling sends a signal into the universal field that cannot be denied. The outer world adjusts itself to reflect your inner conviction. Emotion is energy in motion. It moves substance into form. Every act you perform while in a state of abundance consciousness becomes magnetic. Work done with joy attracts prosperity. Giving done with love multiplies return. Speaking with gratitude opens new channels of blessing. There is no limit to what can appear when the inner vibration is aligned with divine supply. The universe responds not to need but to knowing. When you know that abundance is your natural state, when you feel that truth as unshakable, you become a center through which wealth naturally circulates. Inner consciousness does not create wealth through force, it creates through alignment. When you are aligned with the feeling of sufficiency, ideas come easily, intuition sharpens, and timing becomes perfect. You begin to act from inspiration rather than desperation. This inspired action is effortless because it flows from the higher self rather than from fear. It leads you directly to the opportunities that match your vibration. The outer appearance of success may seem miraculous, but it is simply the law of consciousness at work. The transformation of inner consciousness requires patience and faith. Old patterns of worry may rise to the surface, and the temptation to react to appearances will remain strong. But appearances are only the shadows cast by yesterday's thoughts. Hold to the new pattern. Speak the words of wealth, feel the truth of abundance, and refuse to let temporary conditions dictate your faith. The longer you maintain the vibration of abundance, the more firmly it takes root in your subconscious, and the outer world must eventually conform. When you truly understand that inner consciousness creates outer wealth, you stop seeking security in possessions and instead find it in the source within. You realize that the same power that created your last blessing can create another, and another without end. This realization frees you from the fear of loss. You can give generously, act boldly, and live peacefully, knowing that supply flows endlessly from the wellspring of your consciousness. Everything in your outer world becomes a reflection of this inner certainty. To live in abundance, therefore, is not to accumulate endlessly, but to dwell continually in the awareness of infinite supply. From this awareness, money, opportunities, and success become expressions of your inner state, not replacements for it. They come naturally, stay harmoniously, and serve purposefully. Inner consciousness, once aligned with divine law, becomes a magnet for wealth in all forms: financial, emotional, creative, and spiritual, each reflecting the truth that abundance begins within and unfolds outward in perfect order. Treat money as a divine companion. For it is not a lifeless thing, but a living current of energy that flows through the universe with intelligence and purpose. When you treat it with respect, love, and reverence, it responds as a faithful friend. When you treat it with fear, resentment, or indifference, it withdraws, for no living energy can dwell long in the presence of rejection. Money is not an enemy, nor is it a master. It is a companion walking beside you on the path of creation. It takes on the tone of the relationship you build with it. If you honor it, it serves you. If you mistrust it, it mirrors your suspicion. It has no will of its own, only the vibration you give it through your thoughts and emotions. When you see money as divine, you remove it from the realm of struggle and lift it into the realm of spiritual law. You understand that it is a form of God's substance, a visible expression of invisible supply. It is sacred because it carries the power to express love, service, and creation. The divine companion does not respond to commands of fear or greed, but to the harmony of gratitude and purpose. When you speak to money as you would to a wise friend, kindly, sincerely, without desperation, you invite it to move with ease and joy in your life. Money loves order, clarity, and peace. It comes readily to the mind that holds it in calm reverence, and it avoids the heart that despises it or trembles before it. Every relationship flourishes through understanding and respect, and so it is with money. When you treat it with care, keeping it in good order, knowing where it flows, appreciating its movement. You signal to the universe that you are a worthy steward of abundance. The divine companion is not impressed by recklessness or fear. It responds to balance, gratitude, and awareness. If you toss it away carelessly, it feels unvalued. If you hoard it anxiously, it feels imprisoned. But when you use it wisely, bless it as it goes, and welcome it as it returns, you participate in the natural rhythm of circulation. In that rhythm lies the secret of lasting prosperity. To treat money as divine is to remove from it the stigma of guilt. Many souls carry hidden beliefs that wealth is unspiritual or that desire for financial ease is selfish. Yet divine energy expresses itself through all channels, and money is one of its purest vehicles. It allows you to give, to create, to uplift, to expand. When you honor money as divine, you honor the Creator who fashioned the material world. You see money not as a barrier to spirit, but as a bridge through which spirit blesses the physical. The divine companion cannot dwell in shame. It flourishes only where it is welcomed as good, as useful, as sacred substance in motion. Speak to money as though it were alive, because it is. Say to it, "You are my divine companion. You move through me in perfect freedom. Wherever you go, you bless, and wherever you return, you multiply in joy." These words are not sentimental, they are vibrational commands that align your energy with abundance. When you speak thus, you remind yourself that you and money are partners in the work of good. You are not chasing it, for companions walk side by side. You are not worshipping it, for friendship is mutual. You are simply recognizing its place in divine order. Imagine money as a beautiful stream of golden light that flows constantly through your life. This light brightens everything it touches. When you bless it, it shines brighter. When you curse it, it dims. The more you appreciate it, the more brilliant and abundant it becomes. It is the same divine current that animates health, love, creativity, and joy. Money, like all divine energy, is infinite in source and fluid in form. When you treat it as a companion, you cease to fear its coming and going. You know that even if one stream dries, another will appear, for the source is endless. Your relationship with money reveals your relationship with yourself. If you treat money harshly, you are likely treating yourself harshly. If you mistrust it, you may be mistrusting your own worth. The divine companion reflects your inner state faithfully. When you honor yourself as a being of divine value, money responds in kind. It becomes loyal, generous, and constant. But if you feel unworthy of wealth, money mirrors that belief through instability or lack. Thus, healing your self-worth is also healing your financial life. You and your divine companion are bound by the vibration of mutual recognition. When you receive money, do so with joy and respect. Bless it in your hands, knowing it carries divine energy. When you spend money, do so with the same joy, saying within yourself, "You go forth to bless another, and you will return multiplied." This attitude keeps the current of prosperity alive. Every act of giving becomes a continuation of the divine rhythm. You are not losing money, you are circulating it. The divine companion loves movement, it stagnates in fear and flourishes in flow. Giving and receiving are two breaths of the same divine life. Keep your finances in order, not from worry but from reverence. Order is a form of respect. When you know where your money goes, you honor it as a trusted friend rather than an unpredictable force. Chaos repels the divine companion, but structure invites it to stay. Pay your bills with calm gratitude, bless each transaction, and trust that every outflow opens space for greater inflow. The universe loves balance, and your orderly stewardship signals readiness for greater abundance. The divine companion thrives in joy. When you enjoy what money allows you to experience, comfort, beauty, freedom, you are glorifying the source of all creation. Pleasure, when rooted in gratitude, is a form of praise. It acknowledges the goodness of life. There is no virtue in suffering through lack, nor any sin in rejoicing through prosperity. Money, when treated as divine, becomes an instrument of harmony. It is not something to escape from but something to work with, an ally in expressing your highest self. When fear arises about money, Speak to it gently as you would to a concerned friend. Say, "There is no need to fear. All is well. You are free to flow, and I am free to receive." Such words soothe the vibration of anxiety and restore equilibrium. Fear shuts doors, faith opens them. The divine companion cannot be commanded through worry, it responds to serenity. The more peaceful your heart, the more easily the current of supply moves through your life. Treat money as you would a beloved traveler who visits often. Welcome it when it arrives. Offer it hospitality, and let it depart with blessing. Do not chain it through fear or drive it away through disregard. When you honor its visits, it returns more frequently, bringing with it greater gifts. Gratitude keeps the door open, and respect keeps the relationship strong. Money loves being where it is appreciated, where it can serve, where it can move freely. When you treat it as a divine companion, your entire attitude toward it becomes light, joyful, and secure. To treat money as divine is also to listen to its guidance. The divine companion whispers through intuition, nudging you toward wise decisions, urging generosity when it multiplies good, cautioning restraint when it is needed. This guidance is not separate from you. It is the divine intelligence of prosperity itself moving through your awareness. When you are attuned to this inner voice, you no longer act from impulse or fear. You move with grace, timing, and confidence because you are in partnership with the flow of supply. Money, as a divine companion, teaches balance. It teaches generosity without waste, saving without fear, ambition without greed. It reminds you that abundance is not in hoarding but in harmony. To walk beside money as an equal is to recognize your divine authority as a co-creator. You no longer bow before it or turn away from it, you walk with it, blessing and being blessed. This companionship transforms the act of earning into a creative expression, the act of spending into a ritual of circulation, and the act of giving into an offering of love. When you understand money as a divine companion, you cease to feel lonely or desperate in matters of supply. You realize that divine intelligence never abandons its own, and money, as one of its expressions, is always near. You carry within you the magnet that draws it, the love that guides it, and the wisdom that directs it. Treating money as divine is treating life itself as sacred, for money is only one of the many forms through which the divine reveals its generosity.
Beloved, Spirit never leaves you guessing. Before your blessing arrives, heaven always sends signs. They come like whispers in the wind, like patterns you cannot ignore, like divine reminders that what you have asked for is already on its way. Have you noticed numbers repeating before your eyes? Have you dreamed the same vision more than once? Have you overheard a phrase from a stranger's lips that spoke directly to your heart? These are not coincidences. They are confirmations. When manifestation is close, the universe begins to arrange signals around you. They are gentle nudges to lift your faith higher, to prepare your heart, to align your expectation. Spirit knows how easily doubt creeps in, how quickly fear tries to choke hope, so signs are sent as evidence. So you may walk by faith and not by sight. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that nothing ever happens without a sign. Every repetition, every symbol, every divine echo is heaven saying, "Do not quit now. The harvest is near." Beloved, if you keep seeing it, do not dismiss it. If the same number flashes before your eyes, if the same message returns again and again, if the same door keeps showing itself, know this: your manifestation is not far. It is standing at the threshold, waiting for your faith to open the door. Beloved, Spirit is always speaking. The challenge is not whether God speaks, but whether we notice. Manifestation is not a mystery to heaven. It is only a mystery to the human mind that doubts, forgets, and overlooks the signals placed in its path. But when your desire is close, when your faith is rising, when your vibration is aligned with the law of supply, Spirit begins to send signs as clear as day. These are heaven's way of preparing you, whispering, "Stay ready, for your good is near." A Florence Scovel Shinn declared, "Nothing happens without a sign. Before the harvest comes the bud, before the dawn comes the glow, before the blessing comes the signal." Spirit speaks in repetition, because repetition captures attention. That is why you notice numbers repeating, 111227777. Each pattern carries a vibration, a reminder that the universe is not random but rhythmic. 111 whispers alignment. 222 announces balance. 777 signals completion. These numbers are not there to entertain you. They are signposts declaring that manifestation is already unfolding. But Spirit does not speak only through numbers. Spirit speaks through patterns, through echoes, through the alignment of events too precise to dismiss. You may hear a word in your spirit during prayer, and later a friend repeats it without knowing why. You may dream a symbol in the night, and later see it appear in the world before you. You may wrestle with a question in your heart, and then overhear the exact answer spoken by a stranger on the street. Beloved, these are not accidents. These are confirmations, heaven's language clothed in circumstance. Have you ever noticed how the same thought will not leave you, returning again and again, until you cannot ignore it? That persistence is not coincidence. It is Spirit insisting that you pay attention. The universe is aligning your awareness so that when the door opens, you will recognize it. Spirit prepares your inner sight before your outer eyes behold the manifestation. Beloved, I tell you this: the closer your blessing comes, the louder the signs will grow. At first, it may be a whisper, a gentle nudge, a fleeting repetition. But as your manifestation draws near, the signals multiply, becoming undeniable. Spirit wants you to be certain. Spirit wants you to be anchored. Spirit wants you to be able to say, I saw it coming, for heaven announced it beforehand. But why does Spirit send signs? Because doubt is quick to rise when the waiting grows long. The enemy of manifestation is discouragement. Signs are heaven's way of keeping you steady in faith. They are breadcrumbs along the path, guiding you toward the feast already prepared. When you see them, you are to rejoice, not question. You are to say, this is evidence. My manifestation is already in motion. Beloved, Spirit is not silent. Spirit is speaking through numbers, through people, through patterns, through whispers of intuition that cannot be explained by reason. When you are spiritually alert, you will see them. And once you do, you will never again call them coincidence. You will say, this is my sign. My manifestation is near. So the next time the number flashes before your eyes, the dream repeats, the phrase echoes back into your life, pause and declare aloud, I recognize the sign. Spirit is speaking. My good is on its way. For the universe always delivers, but it delights to give you a preview before the arrival. Beloved, signs do more than comfort you. They awaken the law of expectancy. Expectancy is the bridge between your desire and its manifestation. It is not idle wishing. It is not anxious waiting. It is the steady assurance that what you have asked for is already on its way. When signs begin to appear, they are not random sparks. They are Spirit's way of fueling your expectancy, reminding you to hold your faith high, to prepare your heart, and to get ready to receive. Florence Scovel Shinn often declared, faith knows it has already received and acts accordingly. This is the law of expectancy. To expect is to live as though the blessing is certain, as though the prayer is already answered, as though the supply is already delivered. Signs confirm that your words have not fallen on deaf ears. They are heaven's receipts, proof that your request is being processed in the unseen. Think of it like a letter sent through the mail. When you post it, you may not see it traveling, but you trust it is moving toward its destination. Then one day, a tracking notice appears. It is in transit. It is near. It is almost at your door. Beloved, signs are heaven's tracking notices. They tell you your manifestation has been released, and now you must remain in expectancy until it arrives in full. But here is the key: expectancy is not passive. It does not sit with folded arms and complain about the wait. Expectancy is active faith. It prepares the table before the guest arrives. It clears the space before the gift is delivered. It acts as if the promise is already here. When you expect, you do not ask, will it come? You declare, it is coming, it is close, it is mine. Beloved, this is why signs are so powerful. They stir expectancy. They remind you that the unseen world is already working. They shift your vibration from fear to faith, from doubt to confidence, from despair to joy. And your vibration is the magnet of manifestation. If you expect disappointment, you draw delay. If you expect failure, you invite frustration. But if you expect blessing, you call blessing forth. If you expect supply, you summon supply. The law is unbreakable. You attract what you expect. Have you noticed how expectancy changes your posture? A child waiting for a gift does not sulk. They look out the window. They run to the door. They listen for footsteps. Every sound excites them. Every signal lifts their hope, because they are certain the gift is on its way. That is how Spirit asks you to live when signs begin to appear. Not heavy with doubt, but light with expectancy. Not questioning, will it ever happen? But declaring, it is happening now. Beloved, the law of expectancy is faith clothed in anticipation. It is heaven's rhythm aligning with your readiness. When signs show up, Spirit is saying, rise higher. Stay steady. Do not give up before the breakthrough. The waiting season is not punishment. It is preparation. Expectancy keeps your spirit awake so that when the door opens, you are ready to walk through. So the next time you see the repetition, the symbol, the pattern, do not brush it aside. Smile, rejoice, and declare, this is my sign. I expect my manifestation. I live as though it is already done. For the law is simple: what you expect, you attract. And when signs fill your path, heaven is saying, the time is close. Expectancy will open the way. Beloved, when signs begin to appear, they are not vague hints or empty illusions. Each one carries meaning. Each one is Spirit's language, coded with truth for those who have ears to hear and eyes to see. If you keep seeing them, it is not to confuse you, but to confirm that your manifestation is near. One of the clearest signs is repeating numbers. Perhaps you see 111 flashing on a clock, on a receipt, on a license plate. This is not mere chance. 111 declares alignment. It is heaven saying, your thoughts, your words, your desires, and Spirit's plan are in perfect agreement. Or maybe you see 222 again and again. That is the number of balance and partnership. It is the signal that what you seek is being joined to you, that cooperation and union are near. And when 777 appears, it speaks of completion. It is the whisper of Spirit saying, the work is done. The manifestation is finished. Prepare to receive. Numbers are not random. They are vibrations. They are heaven's mathematics, announcing spiritual truths in earthly form. Another sign is the echo of words. Perhaps you are praying for clarity, and suddenly the same phrase appears in multiple places. You hear it in a song, read it in a book, and overhear it in a stranger's conversation. This is no accident. Spirit repeats until you recognize. These echoes are not to entertain you. They are instructions, confirmations, and reminders that your path is unfolding in divine order. Dreams are another language of Spirit. When manifestation is close, the soul rehearses it in vision before it arrives in the natural. You may dream of doors opening, of walking into new places, of receiving gifts. These are not random pictures. They are previews. Spirit allows you to see ahead of time so your faith may be strengthened. Sometimes the sign is a sudden shift. A door closes unexpectedly. A delay interrupts your plan. A redirection moves you into a new path. At first it feels like setback, but beloved, it is alignment. Spirit removes what is not meant so you can stand exactly where blessing will meet you. That delay is not denial. It is preparation. That closed door is protection. That detour is placement. Each disruption is evidence that heaven is arranging the pieces for your manifestation to arrive perfectly. Pay attention also to the quickening of your spirit. You may feel sudden bursts of excitement without knowing why. Moments of peace that arrive out of nowhere. A sense of readiness that floods your heart. This is Spirit's way of preparing your inner self to match the outer blessing. Your soul knows what your eyes cannot yet see, that the blessing is near. Beloved, these signs are never meant to cause fear. They are meant to stir expectancy. Numbers, dreams, echoes, delays, inner nudges. Each one is a love letter from Spirit, assuring you that the unseen is already working in your favor. They are proof that heaven's hand is upon you, arranging, guiding, confirming. So when you see them, rejoice. Do not brush them aside as coincidence. Declare aloud, I recognize this sign. I know my manifestation is close. I give thanks now before it arrives, for the evidence Spirit has already shown me. Gratitude is the response that seals the sign into manifestation. To ignore the sign is to dismiss the confirmation. To honor it is to accelerate the blessing. Beloved, Spirit is always communicating, but when your manifestation is near, the signs multiply. They grow clearer, louder, more undeniable. Because heaven does not want you to miss what is coming. So watch with spiritual eyes, listen with a discerning heart, and every time you see the sign, let your faith rise higher, for it means only one thing: your manifestation is close. Beloved, a sign is not the blessing itself, it is the announcement of the blessing, and how you respond to it determines whether the manifestation flows easily or whether you allow doubt to block its arrival. Spirit sends signs not only to confirm, but to test your posture. Will you answer with faith, or will you let fear and overthinking steal your peace? Many see a sign and immediately slip into anxiety. They ask, but what does it mean? Am I missing something? What if it's not for me? Beloved, Spirit does not send signs to torment you. Spirit sends them to strengthen you. The moment you see a sign, your first response must be faith. Say aloud, "This is my confirmation. My blessing is close. My manifestation is already on the way." These words anchor the sign into your spirit and align your vibration with heaven's decree. Florence Scovel Shinn often taught that every word is a decree. To respond to a sign with worry is to decree delay. To respond with doubt is to decree confusion. But to respond with gratitude and faith is to decree swift arrival. This is why your words matter most in the moment of confirmation. The sign is heaven's part, the response is yours. Beloved, when you see repeating numbers, do not brush them aside. Pause and give thanks. Whisper, "Thank you, Spirit, for the reminder that I am aligned." When you hear the echo of a phrase that speaks directly to your need, do not dismiss it. Declare, "This word is mine. It confirms my manifestation." When a door closes or a delay shifts your path, do not curse it. Say, "This is protection. This is alignment. This too is a sign that my blessing is near." The correct response to a sign is gratitude. Gratitude is the magnet that pulls unseen blessings into form. When you give thanks before the blessing arrives, you prove your faith. You show heaven that you already believe, and belief is the bridge that delivers. Signs are not to make you beg harder, they are to remind you to praise sooner. Another way to respond is through expectancy. Live as though the sign is proof of what is already yours. If you see the number 111, walk through your day declaring, "I am aligned. I expect my blessing." If you dream of open doors, rise in the morning and say, "Today opportunities open before me." If you overhear a phrase of confirmation, take it as your daily decree and repeat it until it fills your atmosphere. Expectancy is active agreement with Spirit. And above all, beloved, rest. A sign is not an instruction to strive harder. It is not a demand to force the outcome. It is a reminder to trust. The blessing is already moving toward you. The sign is the evidence. So instead of grasping, you rest. Instead of fretting, you trust. Instead of doubting, you affirm, "Under grace and in perfect ways, my good arrives." Beloved, let this be your rhythm when the sign appears. Pause, give thanks, affirm, expect, and rest. This is how you honor the language of Spirit. This is how you keep the channel clear. This is how you ensure that when manifestation knocks, you are ready to open the door. So the next time you see what cannot be ignored, the numbers, the echoes, the dreams, the shifts, do not hesitate. Say aloud, "This is my sign. My manifestation is near. I give thanks now, for what I asked for is already mine." And in that moment, heaven smiles, for you have responded with faith, and faith always brings the unseen into the seen. Beloved, signs are powerful, but it is your daily decree that seals them into manifestation. Spirit may send confirmations, but your words and your faith invite the blessing into form. Florence Scovel Shinn declared, "Your word is your wand. A wand left unused cannot create. It must be lifted daily, spoken daily, wielded daily to shape the unseen into the seen." This is why you must establish a practice. Each morning, before the noise of the world enters, begin your day with decree. Stand tall, breathe deeply, and speak aloud with authority. "I am aligned with Spirit. I recognize the signs. My manifestation is close, and I receive it now under grace and in perfect ways." Do not whisper as though unsure. Declare it as law, for heaven responds to conviction, not hesitation. As you move through your day, signs will appear. Numbers repeating, echoes returning, opportunities shifting. Each time you see them, respond with a mini decree. Whisper, "This is my sign. I expect my blessing. My manifestation is already unfolding." These short affirmations are like sparks that keep the fire alive. They stop fear from creeping in and remind your subconscious that the law is already working on your behalf. At night, before sleep, seal your spirit again with decree. Place your hand upon your heart and affirm, "I rest in expectancy. Spirit is moving. While I sleep, my manifestation is arranging itself. I awaken to answered prayer, to divine supply, to abundance flowing." Beloved, do you see the rhythm? Morning, day, and night. Your words keep your channel open, your faith steady, your vibration high, and let gratitude flow with every decree. Gratitude is the proof of faith. To thank Spirit before the blessing appears is to declare, "I already know it is mine." Gratitude turns decrees from empty words into living power. So after each declaration, pause and say, "Thank you. Thank you that it is done. Thank you that it is near. Thank you that it belongs to me by divine right." Beloved, here is a daily decree you may use, word for word, until it flows from your spirit without effort. I am aligned with divine law. I see the signs, and I know they are for me. My manifestation is close. Every day I grow nearer to my answered prayer. I walk in faith, I live in expectancy, I rest in gratitude. What I have spoken is already mine. It arrives in perfect timing, under grace, in perfect ways. And so it is. Repeat this decree 3 times in the morning, once whenever a sign appears during the day, and 3 times at night before sleep. Let it become the song of your soul, the rhythm of your breath, the anchor of your faith. Soon, beloved, you will not only see signs, you will see the manifestation itself standing before you. For Spirit is faithful. The signs are the preview, the decree is the invitation, and expectancy is the open door. Walk in this rhythm daily, and nothing can stop what heaven has already prepared for you. Beloved, we have walked together through the language of Spirit. We have seen how signs appear, how expectancy opens the way, how numbers, dreams, and divine echoes whisper that your manifestation is near. Now it is time to seal this truth with the final decree. Place your hand upon your heart, breathe deeply, and speak with authority. I recognize the signs Spirit has placed in my path. They are not coincidence, they are confirmation. Every repetition, every number, every whisper is evidence that my manifestation is close. I align with divine law. I walk in faith. I live in gratitude. What I have spoken is already mine. I say it again, stronger, my manifestation is close. I receive it now under grace and in perfect ways. No fear can delay it, no doubt can block it, no stress can steal it. I am aligned, I am expectant, I am grateful. Spirit has already prepared my blessing, and I welcome it with joy. Beloved, let these words sink into your spirit. The sign is proof, but the decree is the seal. Each time you see the number, hear the phrase, feel the tug of intuition, repeat these words and stand firm. You are not waiting in uncertainty. You are walking in certainty. You are not hoping in desperation. You are rejoicing in expectation. And so, beloved, walk forward from this moment with eyes open to the signs, lips ready with decree, and a heart anchored in gratitude. For the truth cannot be denied. If you keep seeing it, your manifestation is close, and so it is.
There is a divine law that governs all things seen and unseen, a perfect balance that ensures no loss can ever be final, and no absence can diminish what is truly yours by right of consciousness. What departs from your life, whether it be a person, a situation, or an opportunity, goes because it is no longer aligned with the higher pattern being prepared for you. When one door closes, it is because a greater door waits to be opened, a door no human hand can shut. In the realm of spirit, nothing is ever truly taken from you. What is yours in divine right cannot be stolen, delayed, or withheld. When people walk away, it is often because they are not capable of walking with you into the next chapter of your unfolding good. Their leaving is not a loss but a release, clearing the way for those who will see your light without fear, who will honor your presence without hesitation, who will recognize your worth without comparison. Regret belongs to those who fail to recognize the gift while it is present. It is the echo of a soul that once stood in the radiance of your being, but could not hold it, could not nurture it, could not rise to meet it. Yet their regret is not your burden, for your path is ordered by something far greater than their choices. The law of love and harmony ensures that those who fail to value you only make space for those who will treasure you rightly. You are not diminished by rejection, for rejection is but a redirection. You are not lessened by absence, for absence merely magnifies the essence of what remains eternal in you. You are a center of power, a vessel of wisdom, a living expression of abundance and beauty. Whoever cannot remain by your side has chosen to step away from the banquet of blessings that flow through your life. Their regret is the natural harvest of seeds they themselves have sown. Stand therefore in quiet confidence, knowing that the universe never subtracts without multiplying, never takes without restoring in greater measure. Your task is not to mourn the departure, but to bless it and release it, affirming that only the right people, the right opportunities, and the right circumstances can remain with you. When one chapter ends, it is because a brighter chapter is already written, waiting for the turn of the page. Those who let go of you will one day awaken to the truth of what they once had, and their regret will echo in the silence you leave behind. But you will not be found in regret. You will be found in joy, in freedom, in fulfillment, for you have aligned yourself with the higher law that never fails. What leaves your life is not loss, but release. Many people live in fear of letting go, believing that when something departs, it is the end of their good. They cling to relationships, positions, friendships, habits, and possessions long past the time of their usefulness, as if holding on could change what has already shifted in the unseen order of things. Yet life is always in motion, governed by laws far deeper than the surface appearances of chance. What seems like an ending is not a theft, it is not a punishment, it is not even a diminishment. It is the universe making space, cleansing the path, clearing what no longer serves the higher pattern of your destiny. When something leaves, it is not a loss, it is a release. The gentle hand of spirit moving what is misaligned away from you, so that what is aligned may come nearer. Loss is a word born of the human mind. For the mind measures what has been taken, but cannot see what is already on the way. Release is the word of the spirit. For spirit knows that everything is energy, and energy cannot be destroyed, only transformed. A relationship that ends is energy transformed. An opportunity that closes is energy transformed. A friendship that dissolves is energy transformed. Nothing is gone. It is simply moved, shifted, rearranged into a new form that will better serve your growth, your unfolding, your joy. The one who trusts this law does not grieve as others grieve, for they know that no good can ever be withheld and no blessing can ever be denied. So many remain bound because they confuse possession with purpose. They believe that keeping a person, a job, or an object is what guarantees their security, but true security is never found in clinging. True security is found in alignment with divine order. To hold too tightly is to block the current. Imagine a river. If you cling to a rock in the middle of the stream, you may feel anchored, but you stop yourself from moving forward with the flow. The current cannot take you to wider waters until you release your grip, and so life often removes the rock from beneath your hands, forcing you to trust the flow you resisted. What felt like being abandoned was, in truth, being carried. Release is often misunderstood because it comes clothed in the garment of pain. The human heart aches when it feels separation. But the ache is not because you have been deprived. The ache comes because you have mistaken the temporary vessel for the eternal source. The person who left was never the source of your love. The job that ended was never the source of your abundance. The circumstance that shifted was never the source of your peace. These were channels, and when one channel closes, another must open. For the source is infinite and inexhaustible. To mourn the channel is natural, but to worship the channel is bondage. The wise soul learns to bless the channel, Thank it for the season it served, and release it so that the source may express in new and greater ways. What leaves is sometimes taken gently, and sometimes it is torn away suddenly, but the principle is the same. Release is always for your good. If you look back with clarity, you will see how many times you clung to what you thought you needed, only to discover later that its departure made you freer, lighter, stronger. You will see how often what you once called loss became the seed bed of your next victory. The tears of yesterday watered the soil for tomorrow's harvest. What you thought was the end of your story was simply the end of a paragraph, the turning of a page. Release is also protection. There are those who cannot walk with you into the higher realms of your calling. There are environments that cannot sustain the expansion of your vision. There are patterns that cannot live in the new atmosphere of your growth. If they remain, they restrict. If they cling, they choke. So the hand of spirit removes them, not to punish you, but to protect you. To keep something that is not meant to stay is to bind yourself to stagnation. But to let it go is to honor your own evolution. You do not have to understand the timing. You do not have to approve of the method. You do not even have to like the feeling. But you can trust the principle. What leaves is not loss, it is release. When you shift your view in this way, you stop asking, "Why did they go?" and begin affirming, "Something greater is on the way." You stop seeing yourself as abandoned and start seeing yourself as realigned. You stop holding on to what has departed and open your hands to receive what is arriving. Release transforms grief into expectancy, transforms sorrow into faith, transforms regret into readiness. The mind may argue, insisting that something valuable has been taken. But the truth is that nothing truly valuable can ever be lost. If it is truly yours by divine right, it will remain, or it will return, or it will be replaced by something even greater. If it does not remain, if it does not return, it was not truly yours, and you are free. This freedom is not emptiness, it is the fertile space into which new life is planted. Just as a field must be cleared of last season's stalks before new seed can be sown, your life must be cleared of what is finished before new blessings can root. Release is the secret doorway to increase. What departs creates the opening for what is destined. What feels like subtraction is preparation for multiplication. What seems like emptiness is the rich soil of fulfillment. The soul that understands this walks forward without fear, knowing that every departure is a sacred exchange, every ending a divine appointment, every closing a hidden beginning. Regret belongs to those who failed to value your presence. When someone does not recognize the gift standing before them, they often treat it lightly, dismiss it, or assume it will always remain available. But the moment they realize that the door has closed, that your presence has withdrawn, that the light they once stood in is no longer shining for them, regret begins to stir in their heart. Regret is the echo of unrecognized treasure, the weight of missed opportunity, the heavy silence that follows careless words or neglected actions. It does not belong to you. For you gave your presence, you offered your time, your energy, your love, your light. Regret belongs to the one who could not see clearly, who did not honor what was before them, who mistook the extraordinary for the ordinary. Your presence is not something common. It carries with it your essence, your wisdom, your energy, your compassion, your laughter, your unique vibration that no other soul can replicate. When you give of yourself, you are giving something sacred, and those who receive it are standing in a field of blessing, whether they know it or not. If they take it for granted, it does not mean your presence lost its value, it only means they lacked the eyes to see and the heart to receive. Regret awakens later, when the absence of your presence reveals what they once had. It is often only in silence that the song is remembered, only in darkness that light is cherished, only in emptiness that fullness is understood. Regret does not belong to the giver. The one who gives, who shares, who loves, who stands with authenticity, carries no debt. You have sown seeds, you have poured water, you have given light. If the soil was unprepared, if the ground was stony, if the field was careless, The lack of harvest is not your failure. Regret belongs to the field that could not receive the seed. The harvest missed is not a loss to the sower. It is a loss to the ground that rejected nourishment. The giver walks forward free, while the one who failed to value is left to taste the bitterness of regret. Regret belongs to those who assume that love will always wait, that kindness will always return, that presence will always remain. Yet life is not a stagnant pool, it is a flowing river, always moving, always shifting. Presence is a river, and when it flows away, it does not turn back because someone suddenly discovered its worth. The one who failed to value while it was flowing will only have memories of its coolness. Regret becomes their companion, for they had a treasure and treated it as dust, they had gold and mistook it for stone. When someone regrets losing you, it is not because you diminished. It is because they miscalculated. They believed they could withdraw, dismiss, or neglect without consequence. They thought your light was like the sun, guaranteed to rise again for them. They did not understand that your light is not commanded by their will, but guided by divine order. When your presence is withdrawn, it is because the chapter is finished, the lesson is complete, and your energy has been called elsewhere. Regret is their recognition of what was lost, not because you vanished, but because they failed to see the truth while it was near. It is important to understand that regret is a teacher, but it does not teach you, it teaches the one who failed to value. Regret awakens them to the reality of what they mishandled. Regret forces them to remember, to reconsider, to replay every moment in their minds, to see clearly what they were blind to before. This is not your burden to carry. You do not live in their memory, you do not dwell in their regret. You live in the present flow of spirit, always moving toward greater expressions of love, abundance, and joy. Regret is their shadow, following them as a reminder of what they once held and failed to honor. Do not confuse their regret with your responsibility. It is not your role to ease their burden, to soften their lessons, or to reopen doors that divine law has already closed. Regret serves a purpose in their journey, to show them that dishonor carries a cost, that blindness carries a consequence, that neglect bears fruit of emptiness. Your presence was a blessing, your departure is a teaching, and their regret is the tuition of their awakening. They may not admit it aloud, they may not show it openly, but in the stillness of their own hearts, regret whispers constantly. It reminds them of the warmth they lost, the laughter that no longer fills their space, the wisdom that no longer speaks into their life. Regret is often silent, but it is not powerless. It reshapes people, it humbles them, it softens their pride. Some may try to numb it, to bury it, to cover it with noise or distraction, but regret lingers. It waits. It replays scenes like a film in the quiet hours, showing them how they should have spoken, how they should have chosen differently, how they should have valued you when they had the chance. Yet this is not your concern, for your path is not to sit in the theater of their memory, but to walk boldly into the unfolding future that awaits you. When you understand this principle, you release yourself from the heaviness of trying to prove your worth to anyone. You no longer beg for recognition. You no longer chase after validation. You no longer cling to those who cannot see clearly. You know that if your presence is not valued, it is not your worth that is diminished but their sight that is clouded. Regret belongs to them, and you do not need to rescue them from it. In fact, regret may be the very medicine their soul requires to awaken to greater awareness in the future. To stand firm in this truth is to stand in dignity. You become unshaken by rejection, unbroken by neglect, untouched by dismissal, because you know your worth is not negotiable, your presence is not common, and your essence cannot be diminished. Regret is the evidence left behind, proof that what they once held was a treasure. It belongs to them, because they are the ones who failed to honor it, and it will walk with them as long as they need the reminder. Rejection is redirection toward your greater good. To the surface mind, rejection feels like a wound, an insult, a closed gate that denies entry. It shakes the ego, because the ego longs for acceptance, longs for approval, longs to be chosen. Yet beneath that sting lies a deeper order, a sacred orchestration that knows exactly what belongs and what must pass by. When a door closes, when a hand turns away, when a voice says no, it is not the end of your path, but the guiding of your steps toward a higher place. What appears as denial is often protection. What looks like dismissal is often preparation, and what feels like rejection is, in truth, redirection. You may believe that what you sought was perfect for you, that the person, the role, the opportunity was the answer you needed. The human mind is limited. It sees only the immediate picture, the single frame of the story. Spirit sees the entire canvas, every brushstroke, every color that has yet to appear. What you thought was essential may have been a distraction. What you believed was security may have been a snare. What you desired so deeply may have been too small for the greatness prepared for you. Rejection steps in not as an enemy, but as a messenger that whispers, "This is not your path, for your path is higher." Think of how many times in life the thing denied became the very proof of protection. A job you were not offered, only to later see the company crumble. A relationship that turned you away, only to later realize it could never have matched the fullness of your spirit. A door that remained locked, only for a grander door to open elsewhere. In the moment, the heart felt the sting, but in hindsight, the soul saw the wisdom. Rejection is never cruelty when viewed through the lens of divine order. It is always a redirection towards something greater than you imagined. The human spirit often resists this truth because it clings to what it can see. To be told no feels like a stripping away of possibility. Yet every no clears the way for a better yes. Every time you are turned away, you are also being turned toward. The law of circulation does not permit emptiness without replenishment. When one thing departs, another approaches. When one channel closes, another is prepared. Rejection is simply the moment of transition between what is too small and what is truly yours. Consider how the seed is rejected by the soil. It is buried, pressed down, seemingly denied the light. Yet it is in that rejection that transformation begins. The seed must be hidden, must be unseen, must be denied the surface in order to break open and grow into what it was destined to become. If the soil had accepted it as it was, the seed would remain only a seed. But rejection demanded change, demanded expansion, demanded the birth of something greater. So it is with the soul. The rejections you experience are not the end of your story. They are the pressure points that break open your potential, forcing growth you would not have chosen in comfort. To understand rejection as redirection is to shift from bitterness to trust. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" you affirm, "This happened for me." Instead of mourning what you did not receive, you begin anticipating what must be on its way. Faith begins where sight ends, and rejection is the sacred space where sight is dim, but trust must shine. You may not yet see the good toward which you are being directed, but you can know with certainty that it exists. For the universe does not subtract without multiplying, does not close without opening, does not deny without preparing. Rejection is also refinement. It polishes your clarity, strengthens your resilience, and sharpens your discernment. When someone or something turns you away, you learn to no longer measure your worth by outside acceptance. You discover that your value is inherent, not dependent on who applauds or who withholds approval. Each rejection becomes a mirror, showing you not what you lack, but what you must release. The sting fades, but the lesson remains. You are being guided to something better, something greater, something that could not arrive had you remained fixated on what you thought you needed. Rejection is also revelation. It reveals the true hearts of others, shows you where you were not honored, where you were not recognized, where you were not valued. Had you been accepted into places where your light was dimmed, you would have settled for less than you deserved. Rejection unmasks illusions. It shows you that not everyone has the capacity to walk with you. Not every space can hold your essence. Not every opportunity aligns with your higher path. By closing the door, life spares you from misplacement, for being misplaced is more painful than being momentarily turned away. Rejection strengthens the soul in ways acceptance never could. Acceptance comforts, but rejection transforms. Acceptance allows you to remain, but rejection compels you to grow. Acceptance tells you that you fit where you are, but rejection tells you that you were made for more. In this way, rejection becomes a sacred gift, though it arrives in the wrapping of pain. The wise heart learns to bless even the rejections, knowing they are not obstacles but signposts. They point the way forward, even when the way is hidden. Imagine a traveler seeking the right path. Along the journey, some roads are blocked, some gates are shut, some trails are impassable. The traveler may sigh, may feel weary, but each closed path saves them from wasting time on roads that do not lead to their destination. So too with the soul. Rejection is the closing of roads that lead nowhere, ensuring that you remain aligned with the road that leads to your purpose. The traveler does not curse the closed gate, they thank it for keeping them from straying. Rejection is not a verdict of your worth. It is a redirection of your steps. What turns you away today is only guiding you to what is truly aligned with your tomorrow. Every no you encounter is shaping the path toward the right. Yes. Every door that closes behind you is positioning you for the door that will open ahead. Rejection strips away what is not meant for you, not to leave you empty, but to leave you ready. The universe never subtracts without multiplying. What appears to the human mind as loss, as decrease, as the removal of something once cherished, is only the outer picture of a deeper process where greater good is being prepared. The finite mind counts subtraction as diminishment, yet the infinite mind knows that subtraction is the beginning of expansion. When something leaves, when something is taken, when something dissolves from your life, it is never the end of your abundance. It is the shifting of the channels through which abundance will flow. The principle is eternal. Every space cleared must be filled. Every vacuum draws in new substance. Every ending signals a greater unfolding waiting to take shape. So many struggle because they believe what departs was the source of their supply, the cause of their happiness, the root of their security. They hold tightly to people, jobs, possessions, and circumstances, fearing that if these are gone, they will be left empty. But the universe does not work through one channel alone. It has infinite resources, infinite streams, infinite ways of bringing fulfillment. When one channel closes, it is because another, larger one is being prepared. The subtraction is only appearance, the multiplication is reality. Think of a tree in autumn. The leaves fall, the branches seem stripped, the ground becomes covered with what once adorned the tree. To the eye, it looks like subtraction, a loss of color, a loss of beauty, a loss of fullness. Yet beneath the surface, roots are deepening, energy is being stored, and the promise of spring is already forming. When spring arrives, the tree does not simply replace what was lost. It multiplies into fuller branches, richer leaves, more abundant blossoms. What looked like decrease was only preparation for greater increase. So it is with the seasons of your life. When something is taken from you, it is not because you are being deprived. It is because you are being multiplied. If a friendship ends, it is to make room for companions of higher frequency. If a job closes, it is to guide you into work of deeper purpose. If finances seem to diminish, it is to prepare you for a flow of provision that is larger, freer, and less restricted. The subtraction is only a shadow. The reality is multiplication, though it may take time for the outer world to reveal what the inner law has already set in motion. Every act of subtraction creates space. Space is never left empty. The law of circulation ensures that where there is space, something will move in to fill it. When you release old clothing from your closet, new garments soon arrive. When you give away books, new wisdom finds its way to you. When you let go of outworn beliefs, new understanding floods your mind. The universe abhors a vacuum, and what seems like emptiness is always the invitation for increase. To fear subtraction is to misunderstand its purpose. It is not the end of your good. It is the beginning of a larger outpouring. The human mind tends to cling because it wants to control supply. It says, I must hold on to this job, this person, this money, because if I lose it, I will have nothing. Yet clinging blocks the flow. When the hand is clenched tightly around what it has, it cannot open to receive what is greater. Subtraction prees open the hand. It loosens the grip on what is too small so that something larger may be placed there. The wise soul learns to open willingly, to release with trust, to bless what leaves, knowing that multiplication follows as surely as spring follows winter. It is in times of subtraction that faith is tested. When you cannot yet see the multiplication, will you still trust the law? When the field looks barren, can you still believe in the harvest? Faith affirms that unseen good is already forming, that greater abundance is on its way, that the multiplication is inevitable because the universe cannot fail in its principles. Just as you do not doubt the seed planted in the soil, you need not doubt that subtraction is only the planting ground for multiplication. There are countless testimonies in life of this truth. The person who lost a job and thought it was the end of their security, only to later step into work that paid more, fulfilled more, and brought more freedom. The individual whose relationship ended in heartbreak, only to discover new love that was richer, truer, and more aligned. The family who faced financial struggle, only to later step into a flow of provision they never imagined possible. In each story, subtraction was the doorway to multiplication. Without the first, the second could not have appeared. Subtraction also clears illusions. Sometimes you hold on to something because you think it is your only good. You build your trust in that single channel, forgetting that the source is infinite. Then subtraction comes, and the channel is gone. The mind panics, but the soul soon learns that good was never limited to that channel. New avenues open, new connections are made, new doors swing wide. The lesson becomes clear: the source is never gone, only the channel changed. Multiplication comes not from clinging to one source, but from opening to the infinite supply that can manifest in countless ways. Multiplication is not always in the same form as what was subtracted. If a friendship ends, the multiplication may not look like one friend being replaced with another. It may appear as an expansion of your own independence, the discovery of your own strength, the opening of opportunities that require solitude before companionship. If finances diminish, the multiplication may not immediately be more money. It may first appear as greater creativity, new ideas, fresh opportunities that later blossom into wealth. The multiplication always comes, but it often comes in unexpected form. The law works perfectly, though the manifestation may surprise you. The universe never subtracts without multiplying because its nature is abundance. It cannot contradict itself. Abundance is the rhythm of life, woven into the cycles of nature, the patterns of the seasons, the growth of every living thing. A single seed multiplies into a field. A single drop of rain joins others to become a river. A single act of kindness multiplies into ripples that reach further than you can measure. Subtraction is never the end of the story, but simply the hidden beginning of multiplication. Only the right people and circumstances can remain with you. Life has a perfect order that cannot be broken, a rhythm that moves beyond appearances, guiding everything into its proper place. When someone leaves your life, when a situation dissolves, when an opportunity passes by, it is not failure, not punishment, not rejection of your worth. It is the natural law at work, clearing what is misaligned so that what belongs can stay. What is not truly yours cannot cling to you, and what is yours by divine right cannot be taken. The unfolding of your path ensures that only those who match your vibration, only those who honor your presence, only those who walk in alignment with your higher good will remain. This law protects you more than you know. Without it, your life would be cluttered with false attachments, stale connections, and burdens that weigh down your spirit. Every departure, every shifting circumstance, every unexpected ending is the invisible hand of guidance shaping your journey. You may feel pain when someone you love moves away, when friends turn distant, when a door you hoped would open stays closed. Yet if you could see the whole picture, You would understand their leaving makes space for something better. Their absence makes room for deeper presence. Their silence makes way for truer voices. What remains is always what must remain, and what departs was never meant to be permanent. People often believe they must fight to keep relationships, hold tightly to every opportunity, or force circumstances to remain unchanged. But this struggle arises from fear, not truth. What is truly yours does not require force, does not demand begging, does not need endless effort to preserve. It stands with you because it is aligned with you. The right person does not drift away, the right opportunity does not vanish, the right circumstance does not collapse. These remain because they are woven into your destiny. Those that cannot remain reveal themselves in time, no matter how much you cling. This is not loss but liberation. When you look back, you can see it clearly. The friend who turned against you was not meant to walk into the fullness of your future. The job that slipped away was not capable of holding the expansion of your purpose. The relationship that crumbled was not strong enough to carry the weight of your becoming. At the time, you mourned, but later you saw how it all aligned. How the emptiness was filled, how the gaps were closed with something greater. The right people, the right places, the right experiences always remained, and they carried you further than you imagined. This truth allows you to rest from striving. You no longer have to prove yourself, chase validation, or fight to be chosen. The ones meant for you will recognize you without persuasion. The circumstances aligned for you will unfold without endless struggle. When you release the fear of losing, you discover that you cannot truly lose what belongs to you. You may lose the appearance of something, but never the essence. If a person, place, or opportunity is part of your divine design, it will remain or return, and if it departs, it is proof it was never truly yours. Trusting this principle requires faith. In the moment of departure, the heart aches. You may feel abandoned, unseen, or forgotten. But if you hold steady, you will witness the pattern. The false falls away, the true remains. Life never takes without replacing. Spirit never empties without filling. What is not for you is removed, so that what is for you may have room to dwell. To resist this is to prolong your suffering. To cling to what has already been released. To accept it is to flow with the rhythm of life, confident that what is aligned will stay. The right people are those who see your worth without needing explanation. They do not compete with your light, they celebrate it. They do not use your kindness, they honor it. They do not abandon you in shadow, they walk with you toward the dawn. The wrong people cannot do this, not because you are lacking, but because they are not capable. The law of resonance ensures that like attracts like, and as you rise, those not ready to rise with you must fall away. It is not cruelty, it is balance. You cannot carry everyone, nor can everyone carry you. The path narrows, and only those meant to remain will remain. The right circumstances are those that open naturally, without forcing. They unfold in harmony, they bring peace even in challenge, they align with your intuition. The wrong circumstances drain, confuse, or block growth. When these dissolve, you may feel the sting of disappointment, but later you see the wisdom. The right circumstances cannot collapse under pressure because they are built on alignment, not illusion. What falls away does so because it lacked foundation. What stays does so because it is rooted in truth. When you understand that only the right people and circumstances can remain with you, you release the need to cling. You stop chasing those who walk away. You stop forcing doors that refuse to open. You stop lamenting what has shifted. Instead, you bless those who depart, you honor the lessons they brought. You thank the closed doors for their protection. Then you turn toward the flow of life, open to receive the ones who are meant to walk beside you. The opportunities designed to elevate you, the circumstances prepared to expand you. The soul that trusts this principle becomes unshaken by change. Others may wonder at your peace when relationships end, when plans shift, when things do not go as expected. But you know the truth. If it remains, it is right. If it departs, it was never meant to stay. You walk forward with confidence, free of fear, free of striving. knowing that what belongs to you by divine right can never be taken, and what is not meant for you cannot be kept. Life is not random. It is perfectly ordered, ensuring that only the right people and circumstances remain with you.